Never doing it. Never doing it. Goodbye. Hello, Internet. It's us. We're back.
Yep.
Hello.
Hi.
Here to talk about 400 video games. Not E3 episode.
Yes.
And
Ain't
that
nobody got
doesn't
time for
mean that it is an E3 episode.
Yeah, this isn't the Discord channel.
That's right.
It's not an intentional double negative
That's
about...
right. Not a secret code. Man. All right. Are you guys ready to get started?
Sure.
Yeah!
I just saw the whole list again. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that is...
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
Am I really here? Is the question.
Are any of us really here? What's the meaning of... Anyways, also the Nymph.
Yay.
Quick plug here. We have a super huge episode, most likely this week. If any episode could potentially be a 5-star runtime, it's probably going to be this one. Got a lot of games, got a lot of releases, got a lot of not E3 stuff. But let's start off here with a quick plug for a brand new episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love, out right now in the feed for June 2024. You want to talk about a lot of RPG releases, you're talking about June. So go check out that episode especially. Also, as usual, quick plug here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Behind the scenes, early access, critical misses, We Rogue Like It, Wayward Sons, which is the Supernatural TV show watchcast that the other two guys are doing. That's the Moonpear and the Nymph. Not like two other people that are on the show.
No, we brought on 2 new people just for
That's
that
right. We hired on 2 new people that we're also not paying because we don't send more people over to Patreon. That's right. I need a beverage.
External contractors.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So get all of that over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers, thank you for the delay.
You're welcome. I'm doing the stretch out motion to myself of oh no, Moon's drinking. All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
So, I don't know what it is with growing up life. Kids, get ready. Get ready for some truth bombs. Where sometimes you find yourself having a whole bunch of time to play video games and you talk about them for 45 minutes by yourself. And then your co-host's like, when is he going to stop talking about video games? Mm-hmm. Because we need to talk about what we're going to play. Mm-hmm. And then other weeks you get 10 minutes.
Which week is it this week?
Well, you know what happened last week, which means that this is a 10-minute episode, baby.
It's just like that meme that's been going around recently where it's like, as a kid, you have all the time to play video games, but you don't have the money to buy them. And as an adult, you have the money to buy them, but none of the time to play them.
Right.
Yup. It's not great, we'll say. So, yeah, let's just fly through the 3 I've got to talk about here.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Starfield, because that is the least of the 3, one might say.
Got him. Oh, wait, no.
It's fine.
Like I have always said, the only issue with Starfield and the fact that I can't pronounce it all of a sudden is just that it is just painfully normal. Yeah. It works. Mm-hmm. There are no issues with it. But it's just kind of bland.
It's just a regular Bethesda game.
Yeah.
That's the good and the bad side of it. It is... So, also, it's 120 gigs now on my hard drive. Why?
I did see that as well, yes.
That's wild.
I have 7 or 8 games installed on my external hard drive, which I can't play at the moment because I need to move them to my solid state to be able to play them. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have the space to move them to my internal because there are too many games taking up 200 gigs a piece.
Right. No, that is not solid state. That's your Xbox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. But the transfer speed is solid, so I just download them to that drive just so I can save myself the time later.
Transfer speed is solid on your solid state.
I hate you so much.
You're the one that said it.
I hate you so much. So much. Starfield is fine. Wait. Apologies for the sudden silence on my side there. I have a gravity water tank for the cats down here. So big old basin with a tray underneath that I only have to fill like once every 3 days. Yeah, it literally just did that by itself with no cats near it.
Well, it's the ghost cats. They get thirsty
thanks,
too, man.
Boston.
Yeah, you're
Thanks.
welcome. Enjoy that time in your basement.
Yeah, because this isn't a scary place as it is.
That's right.
I finished the 3-star Rangers quest lines that I was going for. We're okay, I guess.
It's fine.
What do you think of the ship?
The ship that I got for beating it?
Yeah.
I put like 60 hours into building my own ship. I ain't touching any other ship.
That's right.
I was gonna say, because I enjoy the fact that the Lone Star ship has a jail cell in it for you to put people in. Yeah,
right.
Really good.
It's actually a decent sized and pretty okay ship, or decent ship. The only other one that I think is better than that, that's a pre-built ship, is the one that you get for the Mantis stuff.
Yeah, the Mantis one.
Yeah.
Is supposed to be a banger of a ship. No, because I put so much time into like specifically building a ship, so I'd never have to build a ship again. Like, too many hours. Let's get that out the way right now. I put too many hours into building my own ship. It's called the Hellfire because it's got turrets, railguns, lasers, and I was having issues with the turrets, like because you can have like just like in Elite Dangerous, you can have turrets that might automatically track targets and just shoot at them until they're dead.
Yeah,
which is a problem when you're supposed to board a ship because they don't stop firing. So in order to stop that, you have to go over to your power thing and just remove all of the power slots from that specific weapon in order to target the engines, take out the engines, and then dock with the ship. I was having issues with it because it wasn't firing. It turns out it wasn't firing because I pointed them the wrong way. I pointed them sideways. Sorry, sideways that way. So they were pointing into my ship, so they couldn't fire anything.
You're lucky they didn't just start shooting your ship anytime they saw an enemy.
Yeah. So I have 4 of them, 2 on the outer wings and 2 on the inner body. So I put the outer wings one and I fixed them facing forwards. And then as an experiment, I took the 2 on the body and pointed them backwards. I was like, I wonder if this will work. It works. So that when a ship goes behind me, I'm still doing damage to it because the turrets are just tracking it and shooting at it. I was like, okay, so now I'm literally an unstoppable ship. And also I have 14,000 in cargo, shielded cargo, jammers, the best shields, which I only got this week because I finally put my Starship Engineering up to like rank 4. But my ship is pretty great. I just wish I didn't spend 60 hours building the damn thing is the problem. But I did the 3-star missions. They're fine, I guess. I do like the fact that they give you like guns. Like one of them is like the Peacemaker, and the gun you get for beating the storylines is the Justifier. And I was like, hey, of course you give me the Justifier. Considering your type of world, of course you give me the Justifier. Which I'm now using because it's a pretty solid gun. It's fine. I did get Sam Co up to a high relationship status, like my plan was to get his mission, which I did. It was fine. It wasn't anything special at all. Now I'm trying to figure out who I haven't done missions for that I can do missions for because I don't know is the problem. Like the loyalty missions. I think I've done it for everybody currently available. Like who can you take with you from Constellation? There's Sarah Morgan.
Right.
There's Barrett.
Yeah.
There's Sam. Andresia.
Vasco. Well, he doesn't have a mission though.
Yeah, Vasco's not going to have a mission.
Right.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
What about the priest? I don't think the priest comes with you at all, does he?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think that's it.
So I
think it's 4 people.
So if that's the case, then I've done all of their loyalty missions, and the only one that stuck out was probably the worst character of them, which was Sarah Morgan, which is just great.
It's a bummer.
Well, on the flip side, now I do get to get Andreja back as my companion and get the 15% bonus XP, because if I'm going to date somebody, it's Andreja and not any of the other rubes that are in that area.
Yep, she's cool.
She's the best character in that group as far as I'm concerned so far. But now because I finished that stuff with Samco, I'm now back on the corporate espionage one, which is the perfect Andreja storyline.
Yes. So, yep. That's a good one.
I had to get Samco done because I know full well he wouldn't be down with me sneaking in and doing a bunch of encrypted hacking and planting false evidence stuff, because he's just too much of a goody two-shoes.
Let's do it.
I was gonna say, I hope you actually get to do the sneaking and the corporate espionage, because my espionage was, I can't hack the terminal and the lights don't actually shut off. I guess I have to kill everybody now.
Yeah, hopefully that's fixed.
Hopefully.
Well, I'm also level 80, so...
That'll help, probably, yeah.
Yeah, so fingers crossed. And all of my weapons now have silencers, because I also went with that spec option for the skills. Why is there an achievement for being level 100, dude? It takes so long to level up, it's unreal.
Yeah.
How many achievements do you have left?
14 or something like that. I'm nowhere even close.
Because I don't think they've added more yet.
No,
I don't think so.
It's bad, dude. But it's do all of the missions. It's pretty much do all of... It's do all of the 4 or 5 storylines, wherever it is. And then just progress the main stuff, I think. And all the extraneous BS stuff, get 500 organic resources, get 500 non-organic resources.
Kill someone 500 meters away,
Yeah.
I think I already did that one. Mod 50 weapons, recruit 10 separate companions. 10 companions!
Jeez.
Collect 20 quantum essence. Don't even know what that is. I'm assuming that's related to the Starborn, because I haven't touched that storyline.
Oh, yeah.
That was the other thing. The Starborn powers were kind of a whole missed thing, too.
Yeah.
The cooldown, they didn't do enough, and the cooldown was too long to make it worth even using most of the time.
Yeah. So I think I'm pretty sure, I haven't done the UC final part of the storyline yet for the UC stuff, because I took a break from that so I could go do the Freestar Ranger stuff, but I've done all of the Freestar Ranger stuff now, so now I'm going to do the corporate espionage one, finish off the 2 or 3 missions I have left with the UC. The UC stuff is probably the most interesting stuff so far, because that's the stuff that's all related to the mind jackers or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Terramorphs, there we go.
Terramorphs, yeah.
That's the word. And I like that whole aspect of it. Other than that, it's just the main storyline. I've got to complete it further into the unknown, and all that kind of stuff, which is main story. But it won't be too much longer, and then I'll probably be done with it. But it's my shut my brain off game. It's okay, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just gonna load Starfield and then fast travel to 15 different locations, do 2 minutes of work, and then fast travel to a new location and do 2 minutes of work, and so on and so forth. A Bethesda game.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It's fine. I finished the 2nd level in Aliens Dark Descent. This is my biggest disappointment, is I didn't get to put more time into this, because there has been a constant back and forth between myself and Mackie in regards to this game. We have been talking way too much about this game. Apparently Mission 5 is where it's at.
Okay.
So I just need to make my way through missions 3 and 4 to get to mission 5.
Where it's at is in the wall that you need to climb over, or where it's at is in it's going to be an awesome mission?
I haven't been spoiled on it. So all I've been told so far is mission 5 is everything I wanted this game to be, which is coming from Mackie is saying something about the type of game it is and the franchise it's based in. So
especially for a game that's already really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. This game looks really great.
Yeah. So I enjoyed mission 1. I enjoyed mission 2. I'm just getting to grips now with like making sure to maximize my efforts while I'm out on the field.
Mm-hmm.
The save system in this game is kind of broken a little bit. Like it doesn't have a manual save option, so you can't literally save scum it that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to get into mission 3 and then quit at that point, just so I could make sure all of my research and stuff was saved.
Oh, sure.
How are we still having issues with saving a game in 2024?
I have no idea. It drives me nuts.
I don't know. But it's also, this game is definitely 100% made on a real low budget.
Yeah.
With like, I mean, it's a studio I've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a game type that's very hard to do from everything I understand. So it's like, okay, that's it's got its flaws, but I'm relatively fine with it so far. I don't know. It's really fun to play, and I'm actually really looking forward to going back to it. The problem is, in order to play this game, I need to sit down for like an hour and a half straight and like not take breaks.
Right,
like,
to do like an entire mission at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
Facehuggers are still terrifying. I will say that much. I finally have the ability that lets me do it's called an extraction device. And it lets you take the facehugger off people. I don't know if it stops them from being infected or not. So that's a terrifying thing that I might have to deal with in the future.
Boy. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, what if you get them back to your base? Yeah, and they turn.
They pop right open.
This is what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
So, Aliens Doctor, it's $40. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. The fact that it's a $40 game, and I'm having so much fun with it. And again, they've got the sound effects, they've got the tension, they've got that build-up corrected. Like, the fact that you can plant motion trackers around, and then the second somebody is close to you, you just hear the whoom, 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 of the motion tracker. It's just chef's kiss.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. I did finally unlock a gunner and the smart gun, so I'm looking forward to see how effective that is. For those of you not 100% aware of the franchise, that's the Aliens 2 gun, the incredible Aliens 2 gun, we'll say.
Yeah.
Or Aliens, if I'm going to be taking whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I know it's great. I like Aliens Dark Descent. It's fun. And the final game that I played this week, and the game that almost caused me to have an aneurysm, is Lethal Company.
Yeah, I did.
I made a mistake.
Yeah, you did.
Hands in the air. I made a mistake.
You flew too close to the modding sun.
Yes. Specifically in this case by unlocking all of the emotes.
Anyone didn't listen to last week's episode? Go check that one out real quick.
Yes. Because part of this is that now we have 255 separate special emotes that are fantastic. And a lot of them have music related to them.
Oh, of course they
do. Can turn... Yeah, so, like, there is someone doing the Take On Me dance, and it just loops the start of Take On Me.
Gangnam Style.
Gangnam Style is in there. Yep. I found that one, too.
Yeah.
And the best part is that when someone starts dancing, you can look at them and hit E, and you can also dance with them in the same style.
That.
Yeah.
And it
Wait, does it play
as well, so it's in the same time.
Oh, thank God. Okay, because I thought it would be like 2 copies of Gangnam Style delayed by half a second.
Only
for
one.
Moon.
However.
Uh-oh.
So what happened previously when I tested this was if one person was doing an emote with the music and then you did a different one, it would cut their music and you could only hear yours.
Okay. Sure.
That's not what happens
seems
anymore.
to be broken for me.
Oh, no.
Because now, whenever somebody does an emote, I get everybody's individual music feeds.
Sounds like literal chaos in your ears.
So, me and you were literally talking about this like 2 weeks ago, Boston. I don't think it was during a recording, but how like as soon as I get like 3 audio inputs at the same time, my brain starts to get confused.
It sounds like 2000. It just
you just can't. I can't deal with it. So like 1 or 2, I'm good with. 3 is pushing the lines. 4 and above is chaos.
And how many people are playing Lethal Company?
5.
No.
And technically a 6 because I did a thing. I shorted out the ship, which is actually the picture in the LFG channel in the Discord. Everyone was playing a separate song, and I shorted out the ship, so we had the disco music playing on top of everybody else's individual soundtrack.
And I'm trying to listen to people talk at the same time, so it's like 9 or 10 different audio inputs. I'm not gonna lie, it like hard locked my brain. I ended up with like a blue screen of death for a moment, where I was just like, no, like that little sad face came up, and I was just like, no,
and like the TV snow static started
like,
playing just
now. Yeah, it was rough, dude.
That's great.
I have been hoisted by my own petard, and and it was a problem. I
like that it inflicted psychic damage only to you. Everybody else was just like, "Oh yeah, I love this song," and you're just like, "Ah!"
Yeah, everyone was only hearing their songs.
Yeah,
I was
so
hearing
good.
Everybody's. I was so
wondering if that was because you were like a host or something. If for some reason that was
so
that's
good.
What I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It was so bad, dude. Like so,
God.
I did the clever thing of disabling the need for a boombox. So normally it would only play the music if you're near a boombox or in the ship because it has speakers. I disabled that so I could hear it everywhere. So I'd just be running into like the base or like the level, and then all of a sudden I just hear music start coming from behind me, and it's this one.
Right said Fred is behind you. I'm too sexy. It's like, please stop.
Yeah.
Well, so I found one that I really enjoyed. I was like, all right, cool. This is going to come in handy at some point. And sure enough, I get back to the ship after we do a run. Ash shows up. Moon is dead. So I teleported his body back onto the ship. And I think that was when you had been spidered or something. But either way, you were gone. And Rob, I have the monitor camera on him, and I can see he is running to the ship, and he has 2 red dots that are following him.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting for him. He jumps on the ship. I flip the switch. Ship starts autopilot. And he's sitting there yelling, go, go, go. There's dogs. And there's dogs that are like coming through the walls. But since we're already moving, they can't get to us. It's like we can see them, but they can't interact with us. And he's like, all right, cool. And then he starts freaking out. I was like, did we get Moon's body? I'm like, yeah, I already pulled it in. I'm like, because, and then I hit my emote, and Rick Isley's never going to let you go. Never gonna, so that starts playing the entire time until Moon spawns
in. You had it right in your back pocket.
And he's like, you guys suck.
I hate you all.
Yeah.
And so then he would hear me, he would hear me randomly because I would be like somewhere in the base. And I'm like,
and like just in the middle of the forest, I hear random music start playing. It's like, Nib, knock it off.
Stop it, please.
I'm lost. I don't know where to go. And then I hear someone yelling. I'm like, that direction. Okay.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of issues. A lot of good and a lot of bad. It was mostly good. But
yeah. So I want it on the record. I know I talked last week about potentially goosing the numbers on the SCP Foundation a little bit because we talked about it. We've had it twice in the entire time we've been playing it, and that has been in the game since Nim started playing with us because I knew it would be a specifically nice level for him. And I talked about goosing the numbers on it. I talked about it last week. I admit that I talked about it last week. I talked about goosing the numbers. I didn't actually touch the numbers. I didn't.
And then we went to 4 of the 6 maps were that
in a row with the SCP Foundation.
And which was great.
So, yeah, it was great and terrible at the same time. But here is the problem: we ran into the new in-game mob, the butler-looking thing. That's officially in the game. That's not a mod.
I love this guy.
Not terrifying at all.
Nope.
Everyone was really confused on how to handle them and what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we know how to deal with everything else. That's the good. That's why
I'm
modded
friendly
new
little
monsters
fellow.
because I was like, yeah, new monsters in. We don't know what to do, so we all just scream and run away, and the chaos is delicious. But like, we got going to the SCP Foundation. I was like, okay, so but the problem is it's like the bunker, like the World War II bunker one that we go in occasionally. It's a big map, and like actually finding things in there is kind of rare.
Yeah.
And then we had a bad run. In where the Jack in the Box found me and started chasing me. And I was like, oh no, I need to get out like now. So I'm running around like crazy trying to figure out exactly where the exit is to escape from this Jack in the Box before its head pops open and I die. And then it promptly kills everybody else. I didn't make it to the exit in time and I died because the Jack in the Box killed me. I think it promptly then went and found Nimp and killed Nimp.
Well, because I was in front of you. I ran around a corner and there was a toy soldier there getting ready to shoot me. So I ran back. It missed its shot, but around the other corner came the toy box. So I tried to run past it, and then it got me. I'm like, well, it is what it is at this point. Like I was just screwed. So
like the thing with the Jack in the Box is it becomes like a homing missile. As soon as it's activated and that music stops, it just becomes a homing missile, and it will just glom onto anybody who's still in the map. So I'm spectating and I'm watching Rob, who is clearly lost, who then promptly steps onto like a little teleporter, which is in the maps as part of the one that did DLCs, which teleports you to somewhere random on the map for you to go to. And he teleports into this place in this map that we have never
the basement.
Seen. Yeah. It was like a nuclear silo inside of the Foundation. And I was like, where is this? How do we get there? Because when he's there, he's like, ooh, there's something for me to pick up. There's something for me to pick up. There's something for me to pick up. I was like, I need to know how to get to the basement of this map. And then I'm sitting there with everybody else who's dead, and I said, oh, he's going to get got by the Jack in the Box real quick. You're just going to hear like thump, 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 and then he's going to die. And as he opens this door, the door opens, and there's a Jack in the Box sprinting at his face, and he screams.
Well, because we also saw the sign that was up in the basement too that said Omega something. I don't remember what off the top of my head, Omega Protocol or something. And I'm like, oh, I vaguely remember that. That's not good. There's something bad down there. And that's when he turned the corner and found the Jack in the Box. I'm like, well, it's not what I'm talking about, but that's just as devastating.
You're right. It's on brand.
Pretty much. I don't know. I love this game. It's so dumb and stupid in all of the best ways. Like, I cannot explain how much fun I have playing this. Like I said, especially when there's more people. When there's more and more people, it just becomes more unfiltered chaos. And as long as everybody's not doing an emo at me at the same time, it's great.
That's fine. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
I don't. Lethal Company is great. That's all I've been playing. Nimp, take it away.
All right. My first two games are going to be super quick. I did beat Stellar Blade again for the third time in New Game Plus 2, and I have the platinum for that game, so nice. I am good to go. My next game, I was playing Eiyuden Chronicles off and on. This is kind of turning into my shut my brain off and just play. I've got two new characters, a samurai and a foul-mouthed healer, who is my favorite right now, and I am currently looking for potential bandits in a mine. And that's where I'm at.
JRPG, baby.
Yeah, I did not get very far in that. So, I didn't get far in those because I picked up Sekiro again for a brief time. I spent a ton of time with the training. There's a zombie thing at one of the temples, at the starting temple that you can go to, and you can just train with it. And the whole gimmick is that he's already dead, so you can't kill him. So you just keep testing against him, and he's there for you to, just screw around with. So I spent a couple hours training with him, getting my feet wet with the techniques and stuff that I have to do. And then I go back into Ashina's castle, and in there is an elite swordsman boss that I was attempting to fight beforehand. So I trained against the swordsmen so I can get my timing down for their attacks. Like, all right, cool. I feel confident what I'm doing here. Let's go do the boss. And I get wiped. Like, not even kind of. It's just every time.
You just get run over.
Yeah, and it felt like at first, because when you block, the whole gimmick behind this thing is that his sword he sheaths his weapon, there'll be a flash, and then he'll do like a quick draw. And that's basically his main attack. Blocking that attack isn't an issue, but for some reason, every time I blocked it, I was still taking damage. And I'm like, what is going on? Normally when you block, unless you're really off, you don't take damage for that. And I can tell that I'm blocking at the last minute and doing a deflect and not a full block just because of, the lights that are happening and the sounds that I'm getting. So I look up a video. I'm like, okay, what is going on? Because I went against him like 5 times and I'm not making any progress on this dude whatsoever. And every hit from him is like almost half my health in one blow.
Jeez.
So I'm like, all right, I am missing something. This has to be some sort of gimmick boss, or I'm missing an item or something. So I look up a video, and what was explained to me was when they are doing that quick draw attack, it's actually 2 attacks in one. So I was successfully blocking the first attack, but because it's supposed to be super fast, I didn't notice that there was a second one, and that was the attack that was hitting me.
Is a shuriken hidden in the shadow of the other one?
Yes. So I'm like, okay, what do I do for this? So I'm trying to get...
I get one an episode.
You are such a weeb.
If only I could turn into a log as a decoy. But anyway.
Right.
So I'm trying to get the timing down for this stupid thing, because I'm not joking when I say you don't see the second attack. Like the image that you are being shown on your TV is the character doing a single sweep, and that's 2 attacks in one. So I'm trying to get the timing down for this, and I just can't get it. And there was a moment where in my head I was like, maybe I'm just getting too old for this, and I can't keep up.
Right.
With the blocking on this.
Has it finally happened?
Yeah. And then, the aggressive part of my mind was like, no, screw this game. I am beating this guy.
It's not going to beat me. I'm going to beat it.
Exactly. It's not me that's the problem. It's the children that are the problem.
Exactly.
So, what are you going to do, Boston?
I'm going to beat it.
So... what I end up doing is I just stand in the middle of this room, let the guy come to me, and I just start spamming block. And I'm like, let me see if I can deflect both attacks. And I can. I'm hitting block so hard and so fast that the guy cannot get an attack on me. And I eventually death blow him once. And because it's a boss, he has 2 health bars. So the second, health bar pops on. I'm like, okay, cool. We're now in the second phase. Maybe the attack, nope, same exact attacks. I'm like, all right, cool. So I just stand there and spam block the entire time. And same thing, I build up his bar, get him in a death blow stance, and then I kill him. And that's how I beat that boss.
Nice.
And that felt like the most empty win I have ever had in a Souls game before.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't a skill issue.
Right.
It was just a dumb gimmick. Until I found out later that apparently I was way too early trying to fight that boss, and that's why I was having such a hard time.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
I guess that's better than being like, I didn't learn anything from this fight. Like,
right.
Because normally you go into a fight, it's like, okay, I was taking too long blocking or dodging, or I was blocking attacks I shouldn't have been blocking, kind of thing. It's like you learn from it, and like this one's like, no, I just spammed block and I got through it. That's all there was to it. And, like that didn't feel great.
Right.
But yeah, after talking to a couple of people, they were like, no, you did that way too early. You should not have been up against that one yet. So once I found that out, I look up another video and be like, okay, what path am I supposed to be on right now?
Yeah.
Because since it is a Souls game, like you just you pick a direction, you go. It's not like open world, but there are different branching paths you can take. So I found out, okay, I missed this one section. I go through there. It's a whole area that's being burnt to the ground. There is a drunken boss fight in here. He has a bunch of minions with him that you can slowly take out without actually engaging the boss. So I go through, stealth kill all the minions, take on the boss, kill him in one go. Cool.
Oh, nice.
Get to the next statue, save, go into the next area, and it's the fight with Lady Butterfly. Lady Butterfly is one of two bosses that I always hear people talk about, that it's like, this is the skill check wall. This is where people stop, one of the points that people stop playing. Another one is a giant ape in the future that I have not gotten to, but I've heard so many people complain about.
I have heard of that. I've heard of and seen that boss too.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let's go take on Lady Butterfly. Let's see what happens. And my first fight against her, I almost take her out.
Oh, nice.
I just could not keep up her stagger gauge, basically. And she has attacks where she'll jump away from you. She'll jump up onto wires and kind of balance herself up. And once she's up there, her balance gauge, poise gauge, whatever anyone wants to call it, starts to heal itself because she's no longer fighting you. She's no longer blocking me. So, like, all right, I have no way to heal. I'm out of revives, and now I'm dead. This sucks. So I equip the what do they call it? It's like the loaded shurikens, I think it is, where you're just like throwing things, and that'll help keep up with their poise damage. So anytime she would jump up on a wire, I'd hit her with one of those, and that would actually knock her down. It would keep her poise gauge from healing, and then I can go back to just attacking her. And my whole thing was, do not let up on her. Just run in there and keep hitting her. You get 3 hits in, you block her 4 hits, you do 3 more hits, and then you get her to her next stage. Next stage, she starts to summon in phantoms, and you're supposed to be using like snap seeds to dispel them. I only had 5 of them. I wasn't going to waste them on this fight right now. And it took me 4 attempts, but I took that lady out.
Dang,
and
nice.
That felt like an actual Souls boss fight where I learned things about this game. So really happy about that. I have no clue where to go now because I had beaten her. I upgraded my stuff. I did forget to mention, though, with the Elite Swordsman, I died so many times against him that I have key items now in my inventory that show me that every NPC in this game currently has Dragon Rot. And they will potentially they will potentially die of Dragon Rot now.
Oh, boy.
So I'm like, well, my first playthrough, if they all die, they all die. I don't care. So Sekiro, I have no clue where I'm going next, but I'm going to keep messing around with it and see how far I can get before I have to give it another break. But it's fun. And I do blame Stellar Blade for getting me back into the mood for wanting to play Sekiro. So there you go. My last game, getting down to brass tacks. I picked up Pacific Drive this week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
So I'm playing on console PS5. Despite everybody's warnings. So far, though, and I'm thinking from what I have read, it sounds like, because I'm still in the early section of the game, the frames aren't hitting as bad as when you get further into the zone. You've got a lot more going on the map, and that's when you start to feel the frame drops.
Right.
So far for me right now, there's been some hitching here and there. I can't tell, though, if that's the game or that's because something was happening, kind of thing. Because there's a lot of time distortion and stuff here and there, depending on what anomalies you're running into.
Right.
For right now, I am just doing, I guess, like the easy section, like the ones that only require you to find one of the anchors to get out of.
Yeah, you only need like 1 anchor, like 0.7 anchor energy.
Yep. I've done, I think, like 2 or 3 missions where it required 2 orbs, but I haven't gone much past that because it looks like after that I start running into ones that have like anomaly storms all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't think I'm ready for that yet, because every once in a while doing like these easier missions are sometimes an issue. So I'm kind of just grinding it out. My first time playing it, I was just feeling out what's actually happening here. And I will say it was very good to know ahead of time that there aren't monsters looking for you or anything like that. Like, there's no combat. You're basically just dealing with like natural elements in this world, like a rainstorm that just happens to be acid.
Right.
There's a floating thing that will grab your car, but it won't do anything to it. It'll just drag it along and probably throw it into a tree.
Yeah, but won't do anything. Will really mess it up.
Yeah,
drags into a field of tourists.
But it's not chasing you. You know, like you're not being actively hunted. It's just you happen to be in their field of vision. They took notice of you. They did their thing. Now they're moving on.
And for so many of the anomalies, like the abductor that you're talking about, there's a way to mitigate them too. Like the abductors,
handbrake is the key.
Yeah.
Well, and also for the abductors, you can just get rid of them by throwing a flare at them, and they like grab it like a dog, and they just run off and they leave.
I am finding out about flares and flare guns because I accidentally shot a group of tourists with a flare gun, and I'm like, oh. That actually does something. And they dropped a bunch of stuff for me. But those tourists, man, I did not know.
Right?
Yeah, so they're just mannequins, right? And they do the whole thing. I think one of you guys said in the game club, where it's like kind of like Doctor Who's Angels, where they only move.
Coil heads from Lethal Company.
Yeah, they only move when you're not observing them.
Or are they moving?
Yeah, but they're not actively coming after you. Like, they'll come around you.
Right.
But I was finding out that apparently they just go after light.
Yes.
So if I leave the headlights on my car, they're going to start to surround my car. But if I turn the headlights off and throw a flare somewhere and turn around, they're going to start, just walking after the flare.
Yep.
But again, they're not doing anything, but if you touch them or hit them with your car, they will explode.
Or if you hit them with the vacuum as well. When you get the vacuum, they explode then too.
Okay.
So you know.
But I did have one that scared the hell out of me, where I grabbed an anchor point and it was dark. All right. And I turned around. Yeah, and there was a whole mass of them behind me.
All of a sudden, it's just like,
holy S&S, what? Yeah.
Yeah. So
but again, good. I didn't move. They didn't move. They were just there, and there was enough room that I could negotiate around them, and, stuff like that. But it was just they weren't there a moment ago, and now they are.
Yep. So speaking of anomalies, my only suggestion for people that are going to play this, if you're going to go for all the achievements or you're going to go for the platinum, there are 2 missable trophies or achievements on Steam. One is you need to scan a new anomaly as after you've activated a gateway. So when you start the gateway and you're like, the storm is coming and ready to go, on your way out, you have to scan a brand new anomaly. It can't be just scan any of them.
One you've seen before, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be a new one. And then there's one at the end of the game. There's only like one optional mission that you're probably gonna do anyway, and you get a brand new like a dashboard bobblehead for doing that. You have to have that equipped as you do the final mission. Those are the only 2 missable.
The random customization things you can get too, by the way.
Yep.
So like now, like my hood ornament is like a little frog.
That's great.
My gear shifter's got like a little top hat on it, and my steering wheel is a go-kart steering wheel, so it doesn't have top part of the ring really or the bottom. So it's like a fighter pilot. It's kind of like Yolk kind of thing. It's like this is cool. I can see the dashboard more now.
That's cool.
The topper for my antenna is a piece of toast with butter on it. So
I wish I had that one. Mine is a potato battery. So it's just a potato with a small LED light and a 1 wire running through it.
The GLaDOS thing?
Yeah, the GLaDOS one.
So playing this now, I have been playing it off and on for a bit now. I do have all of my panels and doors upgraded to steel.
Nice.
So I've got that. I've got 2 external racks that I can use for storage or to put extra equipment on towards the back of my wagon. Yeah.
Be careful about that, because something I didn't know that Boston pointed out is there's an anomaly that will steal your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everything I want to keep is in the trunk, and it's just kind of like excess crap. Like I have a large fuel can that's in one of them right now.
Me too, yeah.
Just in case. Fuel hasn't been an issue yet, but again, the maps have been fairly small right now because I haven't gotten into the bigger ones, and I haven't done what is it, like the junction connection or whatever.
Yeah, so you're not doing like
thing.
5 junctions at once where you have to worry about fuel and battery and tires and all that. Yeah.
And then I have off-road tires equipped.
The off-road tires
very
are
helpful.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Inside the shop, I've got, what is it, like the deconstructor or whatever they call that, the big giant Stargate
the grinder thing.
Yep. I have a basketball hoop.
Yep.
I have extra storage. I have the place to put my paint and decals, and I have the refrigerator that I add the paint and decals to the vehicle with.
Oh, sure.
And I think that. Oh, and then I have the speaker-looking thing that regenerate. Like you can put stuff in.
Reconstructor, I think.
Yeah, whatever that thing is.
That is a cool system because like I don't think I fully understood how to take advantage of it at the beginning, but when you have enough materials to make like 2 full sets of steel equipment, especially once you start getting eventually buy these parts lockers where it's like 10 spots and each spot can hold 1 part of your car. So you basically have like 2 full sets of car equipment that you're trading in and out of like, well, I'm not going to heal up my car. I'm just going to take this panel off, regenerate it in this other machine, and then pull a brand new one out and slap that on my car. So you're always like revolving parts in your car unless they get fragile, and then that's when things get bad.
Yeah, I would say that's all I've been doing so far because repair putty is stupid expensive to make. Yeah. Only because you don't need a ton of it, but you need like 2 chemicals for repair putty, and chemicals are a pain to find so far for me.
Yep, 100%.
But I do really enjoy when you go to use the repair putty. That it's just your guy with his little spackle brush, spinning stuff around. And he just slaps it right on there.
My favorite is the I think it's the mechanics kit where you put a wrench and you just go dink dink and it just fixes the thing completely. It's so good. This game is great.
I've also got on the back end, which I may take off. I put what is it? It was like the limb.
I love that the like limb shield emitter, emitter.
Where it's like you can basically shock your car and it shocks anything organic or non-organic that's touching it.
Yep.
But I noticed my first, because I did a run before we played, and I just equipped that for the first time on my back bumper, and I noticed that my battery is all of a sudden just like dropping. And I'm thinking that thing is sucking down power even though it's not being used.
Have you assigned it to your hotkeys, like all the way on the left of your car? Yep. I wonder if you have a quirk with that, because it shouldn't take... I run with that almost exclusively because when you equip it, it kicks all the bunnies off of your car. Yeah. But it also kicks off the abductors. When they hit your car and they grab you, fire that thing and it scares them off.
Yeah.
So I was running with that. That was why I
wanted it.
Yeah.
And I may have a quirk with that too that's just undiscovered. Because I was going to take it off and put a normal bumper back on and see if I still have that parasitic draw or not.
Yeah.
And this is where the game gets fun, because for an idiot gearhead like myself, I have already run into quirks where it's like the first one that I got was putting my car in park and the passenger front door opens up. I'm like,
so good.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So that one was an easy one to fix because it was basically just getting the order of operations into 4 steps for the little quirk finder thing. So it's like, okay, park, engage.
Right.
Park, engage, passenger door opens.
Right.
Okay, you found your quirk. Cool. Yep. I think I had to use like a maintenance kit for that, and I was good to go. I then got the one that Moon was talking about, where it's like I steer too far to the left or right, and my lights go out.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah. So I do the same thing. It's like, okay, steering all the way, headlights off. Okay, I need an electrical kit now. Cool. There you go. I had one that I haven't diagnosed but seems to have gone away, and that used to be anytime I drove in reverse, my hood would just pop all the way open.
That took me so long to figure out, because I'm like, is my hood broken? Like, what am I doing that my hood isn't latching? And that eventually that I eventually realized that's a quirk, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty fun. Because you drive forward and it would just flop down, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're back to normal.
Which seems like it would be the opposite, because
Right.
there's no force up against the hood to push it up when you're going in reverse. But anyway,
Right.
that hasn't happened in a while, though. And when I went into the quirk thing, like, it doesn't give me the option to figure out a quirk.
Weird.
So
Okay.
I don't know if I was just having like an odd bug, or maybe at some point my hood was damaged and it wasn't latching
maybe.
correctly, and I fixed it and just didn't realize or notice it. But I do like that stupid quirk system where it's like, all right, this weird thing is happening. Now I need to start paying attention to what am I doing when this happens.
Right. I had that
like,
with
okay,
my door opening, where I kept driving and my car would complain that one of the doors open. It's like, what am I doing? All right, now I just got to figure out what I'm doing. Like I talked about in the game club, my favorite one was the first one where closing my trunk door honked the horn. So it's like I was just fixing up my car and I closed the trunk and it honk. It's just like, wait, huh? Wait, what's going on? And like repeating that was just like,
car had a horn.
yeah, because like I don't know when I would use the horn otherwise. So I was like, what the hell was that noise? What's going on here?
But the whole thing with my passenger door opening, though, when I put it in park, that one I kept for the longest time, because usually when I was getting out, I was grabbing an anchor.
Oh,
and so
sure.
I would run around anyway and open up that door, so that as I'm running with the world tearing itself apart behind me, I can quickly slap that thing in there and stop everything from happening.
That's a good point, yeah.
So it was helpful, but after a while, I'm like, yeah, I should probably fix that.
I guess.
There was an incident in my last run where I was pulling. There were like abductors that were further down the street. I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to park here. There's a couple abandoned vehicles here that I'm going to tear apart. And as I'm doing this, I'm noticing all of a sudden that there's like a red light behind me. I'm like, what is going on? And I turn around, there's like an abductor right there. I'm like, oh crap. And can they grab you?
No, but they can steal stuff out of your hands.
Okay.
If you're picking, I think they can steal the anchor out of your hands, if I remember.
Okay. Because at first it seemed like it was going after me, and I was like, oh no, screw this. So I go running back to my car. Yeah. And I try to get in my car, but before I get to my car, the abductor grabs my car and starts towing it off. And the handbrake was on, so it wasn't going fast, but it was going fast enough that I'm hitting R1 to get back into my car, and it keeps moving just far enough out of the way that my character's not. So I'm like trying to sprint after my car and jump into it, and then I get into it, and the thing throws me into a tree. All right, cool. Pull it out of park, throw it into drive, and I go to drive off, and my car's not doing anything. Like, what is going on? Another abductor grabs me, pulls me to the other side of the road, and I'm like, I'm looking at my dash trying to figure out why isn't anything working, and I realize, oh, my dash isn't lit up, my car hasn't started. So I turn on my car, throw it in reverse, the abductor lets go, and I just drive out of there. And at that point, like, both my hood and my windshield are heavily damaged, and I think like one of my side panels. So it's like I'm looking through like all these spider webs in my windshield trying to drive. It gets super foggy, and then this was like my worst run. I finally hit up the destination that I was actually going to, and then I noticed, oh, hey, I have like a ring on the map, a yellow ring. I'm like, wait a minute, why is it calling in? I've barely been in this map. Why are we already getting the radiation? Like, I haven't grabbed anchors or anything yet.
Why is the storm here already?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, crap. So now I'm finding anchors, rushing to get both of them that I need to get out of here. And while that's happening, there's like a green storm that comes through. Now, my first time playing, I thought green storm was bad. Like, you don't want to be in it at all.
It seems like it on the map.
Yes. So my first time that those pop up, I was driving around the map trying to get away from it, and it looked like it was actually chasing me. Like, it came around a curve on the map, and like all the stuff was coming after me. I'm like, what? And these things are massive.
Yeah.
So I avoided the first one, and then the second time, it just caught me completely unaware. So I'm like, I can't do anything right now. So I just stopped my car, threw on the handbrake, and I just sat through the storm. And I get like this little warning that says hurricane winds. And And that's it. Like, I'm just sitting there enjoying the storm. My car is like slowly getting pushed to the side by the wind a little bit, but it stayed on the road the entire time. The storm passed, no damage. So I was like, all right, cool.
And what if you had a wind turbine on the side of your car that charges your battery?
I just saw that I could get a wind turbine installed at some point.
The 3 I always had, because you can build 4 side racks for your car. The 3 I always had were, well, I always had a large fuel tank on the side. I had the lightning rod, because that supercharges your battery when you get hit by lightning. The rain one, because it charges way quicker than you think when it's raining, and then the wind turbine one. So it's like pretty much anytime I'm out in any weather, my battery is doing just great.
Okay. So out of curiosity, because I never had the stones to do this, but sometimes after you call the storm in, or sometimes when the storm was approaching, a purple anomaly will fly on your map and land somewhere.
Yep.
Never had the stones to go and do it.
It has materials that aren't from the zone you're in. So it'll be like if you're in the outer zone, if you go and crack that thing open, it'll usually have stuff from kind of that inner mid-zone area. So I don't think it has enough to make it a priority. If it lands in front of you, to me it's like a pneumatic tube. If I'm driving and there's a pneumatic tube on the side of the road, I'll stop, but I'm not going to go a huge way out of my way to get one. So
yeah. So going through the storm was fine. That just seems like a thing where it's like you either want to be in a building, maybe, but most definitely inside of your car, because I doubt you want to be outside in that by yourself when the storm is happening. But anyway, so this other storm and this time where the abductors completely jacked me, I finally get the last anchor that I need so that I can call in the gateway so I can get out of there. And that's when the tourists start showing up. And that's when another storm shows up. And that's when an abductor grabs my car again and hurls me off a cliff.
Oh,
and like everything on my car is just, it's a Christmas tree. Like everything's blinking, everything is going wrong. And I hit a tree, which happened to bounce me just right off of another cliff, which then put me into the portal thing that gets me out.
Oh, okay.
And so I go shooting through the portal. I swear I'm on like either 2 wheels or on my driver door going into the gas station, and then my car flips back over and stops on the mount thing for me to charge my battery. And I'm like, I guess I made it.
Like a glove.
Yeah. So it's been weird. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out with the game still. Like I hate that there isn't a way, or is there a way to pass time in the game?
No.
Like okay, that sucks.
Yeah. You just have to like do another run to pass time, essentially.
Okay, because every time I go out, it seems to be like 5 p.m. And it takes like 3 hours to get to a location, and then 3 hours to get back.
My big recommendation is to go into the settings and turn on shorter nights, because I had that same thing of just like, this game is cool, and during the day is pretty neat, and it's pretty tense during. I wouldn't call it a scary game, but it's pretty tense during nighttime. But I feel like daytime is about 2 hours and nighttime is about 22 hours. Like night seems like it stretches forever.
And I have that on, and I have brighter nights on as well. Yeah,
me too.
And both of those options don't seem to do anything.
Yeah,
for me right now.
Night is still a little bit. I know that's kind of like the vibe of the game, but I really wish the day-night cycle was a little bit more balanced.
Yeah, because I had to turn on the accessibility options. There is an ability, or there's an option that you can turn on to highlight what items you can loot.
Yeah, I think that's a necessity.
Yeah, so I have that on, and I have the brightness for that on high, and you can see that stuff through buildings.
Yeah, it's super helpful.
Yeah, so if you drive by a building, you can tell, okay, that's got nothing in it, or that's got a whole host of crap that I need to figure out how to get in there to grab all that stuff.
Yep.
But during the daytime, though, the couple runs that I've had that way, the game looks really nice.
It does, yeah.
it's just playing in pitch blackness at night where it's like, yep, there's another tree, and I wish I could have seen that if my headlights would still work, because
I dashed them 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, rock that was in the middle of the road that wasn't there, I swear.
Right.
But yeah, outside of that though, I'm having fun just looting stuff. Like it's a chill game. I do get anxious still.
Yeah.
Especially at nighttime.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's nothing, like I said, it's not like I'm running away from some eldritch horror thing that's out in the forest looking for me. It's only
right.
It's only anxious because it's like I had enough to repair 2 door panels and a tire, and my car is still at 60% health, so we're gonna see how this run goes. You know,
and also like a forest is spooky at night. Like it kind of takes advantage of humans being nervous about being in the forest at night. You know, it uses that to really good effect.
I do like the friendly dumpster.
Friendly dumpster's great, lifesaver.
Yes, I do like how there's always a vehicle in the back of your gas station to dismantle, as well as a radio and a computer all the time.
Yep, it's really smart.
That's how I learned that anything that's like a TV or a radio or stuff, you can take the scrapper to, and you'll get parts from those. So that was good to find out. I also found out too by accident that gas stations out in the zones still have gas in them.
Yep.
So if you are running low on fuel and you find one of those, you can't fill up. However, every time I have found them, there has been like 4 or 5 abductors just swarming that gas station.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a common thing or what.
It seems like it. I feel like they're trying to have you find the fuel containers out in the world and steal it from broken down cars out in the world.
Yeah.
But, like, I never remember to do that, and like I never find those kind of like fuel barrels.
Well, fuel so far hasn't been an issue for me. I did have to use, because you start out with like a tiny little fuel canister that's like duct taped to the back of your trunk.
Right.
And that has the siphoning thing too.
Yeah.
So when you find other vehicles, you can siphon whatever fuel's in there. It goes directly into the small can, and then you can move that over into your actual tank. It's not enough to fill the tank, but it's enough to keep you going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think that's great. And I've only had to use that once, the whole siphoning thing. And that was cool to figure out too, because that was just a dumb luck thing where it's like, okay, I have this jerry can. This thing has fuel. Like, do I just like bash them together and I get fuel, or hold this
how do
button,
I
siphon. Okay,
make
there we
these
go. So,
things work?
yeah.
So
it was kind of the same. God, it's kind of the same thing with the large one too, where I'm like, okay, I have large jerry can. How do I put
you can't
fuel?
Put in the goo.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then I find out, oh no, I just put the jerry can down, and then I take the gas pump and fill it up. You know, like a real stupid
like
gas can.
Yeah. Right.
I'm making this more complicated than it actually is.
Well, and like that's the problem that I have with Pacific Drive is like sometimes things with this game are more complicated than they should be, and sometimes it's put the fuel can on the floor and just stick the thing in the fuel can. Like it can be inconsistent.
Either way, though, I do like how bits of it are just the right amount of complex.
Yes.
I love and hate that you do damage to yourself if you shut the door wrong.
That's how I got that one trophy for getting acid hit, electrified, and physically damaged at once, because I got hit by both of those things, and I went to go close my trunk door and smacked myself in the head, and I got a trophy, and I was like, thanks, game. Appreciate that.
Hold a Norman on that one. But,
yeah.
But yeah, just some of the weird, dumb stuff that you can do in this game, and then just running around. I like, too, that you have a compass where if you get... Because I am playing this game right now where it's like my character's health is easier to replenish than the panel's health on my vehicles.
Right.
So if there is a situation where it's like, this looks like this might suck for my car, I get out and I walk around and take a look to see what's happening and figure out if it's worth doing or not.
Right.
And so that's been really helpful for me with this game as well, because I can find, like, I've got like 10 cans of food that's just sitting in my inventory.
You find out so many of those.
Yeah. Whereas, like I was saying earlier, trying to do repair putty in the field, it's like, oh, great, cool. Now I need to find 2 chemicals somewhere on this map,
Right.
so that way I have headlights again.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this, and the
It's
weird
a very
amount,
cool game.
yeah, the weird amount of chaos that is currently happening.
Yeah.
So that's all I've been playing this week.
All right. Hold on. Let me switch over to this. So the only thing I've really played this week is Destiny 2: The Final Shape, since that came out
Is it
this
everything
week.
you hoped it would be?
Well, we'll get there. I do want to say, first off, that I'm not going to spoil anything of this. I'm going to talk about the story, but I'm not really going to talk about story-specific stuff, largely because it just came out this week, and also it really is the end of like the last 10 years of Destiny. Bungie's been calling it the Light and Dark Saga. So it really is the ending of that whole thing. So I don't really want to spoil it, but I have a whole list of notes here that I'm going to kind of go through largely in chronological order and how the game does it. If I get into anything that is slightly spoilery, I'll mention it here in a little bit. So first off, I give them a lot of credit for starting with a cutscene that tries to do its best to explain what's happened over like the last 1.5 to 2 years, while still trying to include some stuff from Forsaken, because a large part of this DLC overall, this expansion, is Cade as a character, Nathan Fillion's character, who is returning as voicing Cade in this. And sort of like his relationship with Crow and that whole thing that's been happening over the last, 2 years or so. So they do a pretty good job of saying, like, here are the high points, here's what got us to the point of the final shape, like the Witness is the bad guy, here's what we learned about who created the Witness, how they came to be, here's how they opened. So if you've seen any promotional materials for Destiny 2 over the last probably 2 years, say, you see the Traveler, the big white orb that has that big kind of pinkish purplish triangle cut into the side of it. That's the portal the Witness, the bad guy, the like smoky headed guy, opened into the Traveler to go essentially try and destroy it and destroy the solar system. At the end of the previous season, like 2 weeks before Final Shape launched, we opened up our own pathway into there so we can go stop the Witness, which is, the Final Shape is, go stop the bad guy from doing the bad guy stuff. So I feel like they did a pretty good job of trying to catch people up that maybe haven't played for a little bit on what the hell is happening in Destiny 2, just sort of in general. If you haven't played for longer than that, or you haven't played Destiny 2 at all, I don't know, man. We'll get into that later, but like 3 question marks, I guess. I think some of the stuff that's some of the most interesting here in the Final Shape is just it all takes place in the Pale Heart of the Traveler, which is the inside of the Traveler itself. You land in the Traveler immediately, and you kind of are off and going from there. It is a 7-mission storyline, and really the storyline is just you as the very first person inside of the Traveler are marching from where you start to, they call it the Monolith. It's this giant volcano on the sort of in the middle of the Traveler. You're just making your way from point A to point B. That sounds boring, but they do a really good job of selling it that you're the first person here and you really are making your way across this really wild looking landscape, and every time you finish a mission you're largely setting up a little base camp with a little bonfire and like a little computer, and you're kind of making your way from one end to the other. I think one of the biggest strengths of this expansion has to be the architecture and the design, because what you find inside the Traveler is these kind of like mushed up and remixed memories of everybody in the solar system, which is kind of reflected in a lot of the architecture that you've seen over the last 10 years in Destiny. So your primary base camp is the tower from Destiny 1, but it's been overgrown and reclaimed by nature, and like a bunch of it is locked off and a bunch of it is kind of fallen apart. But you're going through and you're looking at like a giant architecture that's separated from the tower next to a huge ghost that's just like a larger than building, and there's some fallen architecture, and there's some old Russian spaceships next to some Vex architecture. Like, it's this really interesting melding and kind of mishmash of all of this stuff from Destiny that I think hearing it originally and sort of seeing it on paper sounds like, oh, well, that's kind of nostalgia bait. You know, it's like, here's the greatest hits of Destiny. But I think they do such a good job at avoiding that and making it look like it's something totally unique and look like something really new and kind of fresh. And that's the counterpart to that is Prismatic, which is sort of a new subclass. So typically when you get Destiny expansions, you get a brand new subclass. Like we got Stasis, we got Strand, you know, you get a whole new kind of kit of here's a super and a grenade and a melee and that whole thing. With Prismatic, you're taking abilities from other subclasses and you're mushing them together. So if you want to have a Strand melee and an arc class ability and a Stasis grenade along with your solar super, you can do that. So not all abilities, the majority of supers you can equip, but not all the abilities are going to come over seemingly because they would just be way too powerful if you combine them all. But the majority of them in the game are available for you to mix and match, and you're kind of getting them as you go through the campaign, which is refreshing because one of the biggest complaints about Lightfall, which is the previous expansion, was they'd give you Stasis, Strand, which was the new subclass, for about 5-10 minutes in a mission, and then they'd take it away. And then you'd go do another mission, they'd give it to you for 5 or 10 minutes, and then they take it away. So you like never got to play with the new tools until you finished the entire campaign, and then they gave you Stasis, but it wasn't as strong as the Stasis you had in the campaign. Like, cooldowns were way longer, you didn't have all the abilities and everything you had, so it kind of felt like the reward at the end was a letdown and way weaker than the thing you were playing with before. And the smartest thing they did here is you get Prismatic in the very first mission, like in the middle of the very first mission, and they give you a loadout, like a full kit that synergizes with everything. So like your class ability and your grenade and your melee all synergize, and they give that to you at the very beginning. So it's not like you're not left wondering like how do I put all these pieces together. They just show you, and then they give you the brand new grenade that's specific for your class. So one of the interesting parts here that I was confused by when they were showing it is underneath your super bar, that kind of big yellow bar that's by your ammo and everything, there's a new bar that grows from the ends and meets in the middle. And one side is filled by darkness abilities or weapon kills, and one side is built with light abilities or weapon kills. If you kill enemies with kinetic, it fills both of them in at sort of a slower rate. When you fill that bar, you click in both sticks, and you get massively increased kinetic damage, and you get increased ability regeneration, and your grenade gets replaced with a new grenade. So I don't know what the other two classes are. I'm a warlock, so we get a grenade that combines stasis slowdown field with a void effect where it pulls them in and explodes. It does both of those at the same time in kind of a big dome, which I think is pretty interesting. So it's been nice to... And then as you go through the campaign, they're giving you more abilities and fragments and pieces to build your kind of your loadout for Prismatic, and it just gets stronger as the campaign continues to go, which I think is a way smarter way of doing things. What are you smiling about, Moon?
I'm just very curious as to how this goes long term. Are they still doing the slow release of like the campaign over time?
Well, we'll get there in a minute, because that's sort of what I want to end with, because that's like it won't be spoilery, but it's kind of the most spoilery thing. So far I think all of that stuff is really good. One of the larger changes that I struggled with the game, and it's nobody's fault, is that Lance Reddick passed away in between the two expansions. He passed away, I think, a year or two ago. So they recast his character Zavala with probably the best person you could get, which is Keith David, who is an amazing actor and has an incredible voice. And he does a really great job here. But it's really hard to not miss Lance Reddick as that character, because he's been Zavala for the last 10 years. And for him not to be there for like the end of this 10-year journey feels really rough. And again, it's nobody's fault. Like, nobody was planning for this to happen. It's just the nature of things. But Keith David does a really great job, but he's not Lance Reddick. So, like, It's really hard to separate that of, like, when you hear it at the beginning, you're like, man, he sounds like Lance Reddick. Like, he's doing a really great job. But there's some stuff where it's sort of like, yeah, that's Keith David. Like, he's great, but it's kind of not Zavala. I don't want to spoil it. There are challenging story moments for Zavala that I will always be wondering how Lance would handle that, because I think Keith David does a good job, but I'm not entirely sure that it's the right approach for the character. But I don't want to talk about that, because that's like pretty big story spoiler stuff. There's some interesting stuff. I'll get to the story here next. There's some interesting stuff in the Pale Heart of the Traveler, sort of mechanics-wise. You do the campaign solo, which isn't surprising. That's how it usually goes. You also are in the Pale Heart of the Traveler solo 100% of the time, unless you bring people in with you. It's not like the rest of Destiny where you're wandering around and there's 3 or 4 other people in a public event with you. You're in there by yourself the entirety of the time.
Okay. My son had mentioned that too.
It's not bad. It's very different, because the big part of Destiny for so long has been like, oh yeah, here's 5 other Guardians that are with me. We're all doing this public event. Yeah, that was cool. We're going to dance around the chest and we're going to go, on our separate ways. Which makes sense from a storyline perspective, because you're the tip of the spear, like usual. You're the first person inside of the Traveler. But once that's over, it feels a little bit odd, not bad, but just kind of strange. It's also strange is a brand new public event type there called Overthrow, which is basically like you do a bunch of stuff in a public event area, it fills up a bar, you fill it up 3 times, you fight a cool boss. But you're doing all of that solo, which is kind of fun because you're not quote-unquote competing. I hate it when Destiny players are like, I can't believe I have to compete for kills. You're working together. That's what co-op is. But like, it's interesting that you're doing this stuff sort of at your own pace going through, and thankfully it doesn't feel like it's been created for you and 3 other friends to be in there. It feels like it's been sort of tuned for just you to go on with, which I think is really interesting. Talk broadly about story stuff here to kind of wrap up. I think the story, like I said, there's 7 story missions. I think the story turned out super, super cool in those 7 missions. It really is like a race against the clock. I really do like, as you get further into the Traveler itself, you see more of the influence of the Witness and kind of the pyramid architecture. On Pup yesterday, I called it like the cell, where you sometimes see like statues of animals that have been sliced and sort of rearranged in interesting ways. See a lot of like enemy units encased in amber, like staircases leading off to nowhere.
How many people are going to get that reference, dude?
Hopefully you haven't seen The Cell. If you don't get that reference, don't watch The Cell. But like, it's really interesting to see this kind of like natural, overgrown, like nature reclaiming the spaces sort of influence, and that slowly turning into the kind of Witness pyramid architecture and influence, which I think is really great. The voice actor for the Witness is super great. They have an incredible vocal effect where it sounds like 3 or 4 people are talking at once at the same time. One's whispering, one's kind of far off and echoing. Like one sounds like a woman, one sounds like kind of the Witness. It's such a cool effect, and I think it's played really well. At the end of those missions, you get a really big kind of story beat, and the game is basically like the raid will launch tomorrow. Wink. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And they're like, keep doing these missions and preparing for the battle against the Witness. And there was even a countdown on the destination on the main map saying like 12 hours until we go fight the Witness, which is not the normal thing that we see in Destiny. Usually it's like, that's for the other people. Don't worry about it. That's the raid. You don't even have to worry. We finished the story. But interestingly, how do I talk about this? When you finish the campaign, they unlock a whole set of post-campaign missions. And Bungie was really clear saying you need to finish the campaign, and then you need to finish an exotic quest line called Wild Hunt. And at that point, you can go do the raid. But you need to do these...
in the game?
There are a bunch of armor sets and emotes from The Witcher, which is very funny. But like, you need to go do these things if you're interested in the end game of Final Shape, wink wink, nudge nudge. A wild card. Thank you, Favor. All of this stuff is so fresh that I never remember the name of them. So
Balatro, not Geralt.
That's right. Get out of everything, Balatro. Come on. That set of quest lines, along with like 2 or 3 other quest lines you open up, there's one where you're dealing with some other factions that are trying to like storm the Pale Heart. And it's very funny hearing the Ghost get upset of like, hi, we have bigger problems, bro. You can't be doing this right now. Like, stop it. Like, hitting them with a rolled up newspaper. And there's a cool person that is trying to help lost ghosts, like ghosts that don't have a guardian attached to them. So there's some stuff. The wild card questline is really cool. It has a lot to deal with Cade and sort of his legacy and how, like, what would you ask your loved ones if you got a chance to say, like, how did you feel after I died? Now that I'm back? Like, it's a very, very touching quest line. And Nathan Fillion, I think, does a really great job towing the line between Cade being the kind of eternal jokester and being too much like he was at the launch of Destiny 2. I think he toes that fine line a lot better. And once we finished that quest line, it was very much like, hey man, the raid is coming. So you probably need to wait for that. When the raid was completed for the first time, they did that thing that they do before, which, number one, hardest raid in Destiny history. Very, very, very few teams completed it in the first 48 hours. Looks ridiculously kind of mechanically challenging, which I think is really interesting. Not going to spoil the end of the raid, and I'm not going to spoil the end of the story. You can probably kind of guess what's going to happen. But as soon as the raid finished, like Bungie had been hinting, a brand new activity opened. And I don't remember the name. Doesn't really matter. It's Destiny's first 12-player match-made mission. And
oh wow,
Excision. Thank you, Farrer. You're helping me out a bunch. I appreciate it. And you watch this very cool intro cutscene, and it matchmakes you with 11 other people, and you go, to use Bungie parlance, you go finish the fight, let's say. And
tell me, did they say that? Did they actually say that?
No,
please tell me they actually said
probably
that.
legally
Oh.
they can't, but the fight itself is incredibly impressive. And even with 12 people all doing a bunch of mechanics at once, because it's kind of like a light raid. So you're doing, like, these people are doing this stuff over here, these people are doing, then you're kind of doing damage to the boss, and you're avoiding a bunch of stuff, and you're doing all that stuff. After that, you get an ending, like the ending to essentially the Light and Dark saga, and I cannot impress upon you guys how much it is perfect. A lot of us probably had unrealistic expectations for the end of Light and Dark stuff. It's not the end of Destiny 1 and 2, which we'll get to in a minute. But, like, I can't tell you how perfect this ending was. Note for note, shot for shot, everything that it did and everything that included my specific guardian and my specific ghost was perfect. And they nailed the impossible landing where all that Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 has been doing is tripping over its own feet and bashing its nose on the ground almost every single expansion. So for them to nail this thing at the very end is so incredibly impressive. And I finished it, I'm like crying like a baby because it's so good and it's perfect. And going on the internet, I was like, well, me being this like soft-hearted Destiny dummy, of course I'm probably the only one that loved it. Everybody in the community, thankfully, is kind of singing its praises, which is, I think, really impressive. And everybody is posting the big shot from the end of the game that I'm not going to spoil for anybody that hasn't, but there's like one now famous shot of like the end of Destiny 2 that's just so good and so great. And I can't impress how perfect and exactly right it was and how much they nailed this ending. And then immediately on the heels of that, Bungie's been doing a really great job out there being like, hi, end of the Light and Dark saga. Destiny 2's not finishing. The first episode, they're doing away with shorter seasons. They're doing longer episodes now. First episode starts on Tuesday. Destiny 2 keeps going. We're having a video we're releasing, like a Vidoc, on Tuesday called The Future of Destiny 2. It's going to keep going. And there's a bunch of stuff that happens during the end credits that's basically like, hi, here's what happened after you did that stuff. Check in more on Tuesday. Destiny's going to keep going. In a way that I think is really interesting, because I totally understand if people are going to kind of tap out at this point. Like, you saw the end of your journey. This is the end of a 10-year-long journey. I really wouldn't blame anybody that's like, you know what? That was great. I feel pretty satisfied. I'm just going to uninstall Destiny 2. Like, I'm tapping out at this point. I'm good. I'm happy that they...
I'm looking forward to the YouTube video of Destiny the movie.
Well, I mean, so that's the thing. Is I think the real bummer of it is that one of the biggest shadows looming over Destiny 2 is the DCV, the Destiny Content Vault, when they excised a ton of stuff out of Destiny 2, like the Red War and a bunch of the expansions that came out after that. Now Forsaken is in there as well. Destiny 1 is still playable from front to back. Destiny 2, there's a lot in there, and they just redid, all the DLC packs and everything. So it's a lot easier to get into Destiny 2 without having to figure out like a spreadsheet of what do I buy and how much do I spend and that costs how much and et cetera, et cetera. But there's no way for anybody right now to say, all right, I've got a PS4 or an Xbox One. I'm going to fire up Destiny 1, start a brand new character, play through all that, and play through all of Destiny 2 and see the end of my Guardian's journey. And I think that's the biggest miss here. And it's like the specter hanging over Destiny of like, if you've been playing Destiny 1 and 2 for this entire 10 years, you're going to be happy with this ending. If you've been playing Destiny 2 and you're invested over the last couple of years, you're probably going to be happy because you have your Guardian, you have your story, you've got everything going. If you want to pick up Destiny 2 now, because you're hearing that the final shape is good, which it's really good, and I've only scratched the surface of like the post-campaign stuff, it's really hard to get introduced to that. Like the famous Destiny lore YouTuber, My Name is Byf, BYF, released a 10-hour and change Destiny 2 lore, or Destiny Light and Dark lore recap, which everybody says is really good. I haven't started watching it. Somebody also very, very hilariously put out a 41-minute one of like, you don't have 10 hours? Here's 41 minutes. We're cooking. But like, you shouldn't have to go do that. You don't have to go do that in so many of these other similar MMO-style games. And it really is a shame that that stuff, most of the story of Destiny 2 just doesn't exist outside of YouTube at this point. Like, seasonal storylines not being there is one thing, and that's also a bummer. And Bungie puts up like seasonal recap videos on their YouTube channel, so you can go back and you can kind of catch up with a bunch of those, and they're pretty short. But like, not being able to have somebody sit down and like, here's a 2-pack of Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. Just create your Guardian and go take your journey. That's a real bummer, and I think that's still gonna be one of a black mark on kind of Destiny's legacy, and I think that's a real bummer. So I think you'll still get something out of Destiny 2, and I think you'll still have a really good journey if you pick up Destiny 2 now and you start going through Witch Queen, you start going through Beyond Light and Lightfall, and then you hit Final Shape, TFS. I think you're still going to have a really great one, but I'm so deep in it that I'm not sure if I know if I can recommend someone jumping in now and kind of getting what's that experience like for Destiny 2. I'm not entirely sure. And I think that's kind of a bummer. So I couldn't be happier with how this ended. I went in with fairly low expectations, especially after Lightfall was like kind of a miss on so many different fronts. And for them to stick the landing really flawlessly, I think is really incredible. And I'm pretty locked into Destiny 2 overall, just because I like the world, and there's very few other games that play like Destiny, and have kind of everything that Destiny has in it. That's really why it's so enduring, even as its hills are high and its valleys are low. But I like that they're, even at the end of the game, they're like, all right, we got some more stuff to handle. What's our next foe going to be? What's the next thing coming? I think that's pretty cool. So, that was a lot of me talking about Destiny 2, and I apologize. I don't really get to like sing the praises of Destiny 2, especially when they really nail it, because they usually don't super nail it. But I really do appreciate what they did, and I think they did such an incredible job. Not only just with the ending, but kind of with everything. I wish there was more for me to talk about the kind of post-campaign stuff. I've only barely scratched the surface of that because it only came out on Tuesday, and I'm not like a Destiny streamer. I don't get to play it, 15 hours a day, for good or for bad, So I'm over this next week when the first episode launches, and there's probably more stuff that's going to unfold in the game now that we're done with the campaign. Start digging into some more of that stuff. So I keep tripping over more exotic missions all over the place, which is great. So we'll kind of see how that stuff unfolds. And so far so good. I like it.
Good.
But that's all I'm playing this week. So let's go take a break. Okay. Pop a cough drop here. Definitely going to lose my voice today. Thanks, not E3.
Yep.
Oh god, we're already at 2 hours. R.I.P. All right, we'll fly through his
run time.
We're gonna sprint through as much of this other stuff as we can. All right, are you guys ready for the next part?
Yeah.
Pharaoh S, overall, how do you feel about this Evolve part of the story? I'll DM you. It's spoilers. We'll talk about that offline. Largely good, but there's some stuff of it's like,
My son was telling me that you can add Wolfpack rounds to, was it exotic or epic?
It's an
swords
exotic
and
sword.
Stuff like that.
It's an exotic sword. So, like, the wild thing is, there was a mission, I don't know how many seasons ago, at the end of this giant maze, you find your guardian's grave. So, like, however often in the distant future, when you die for real, you find your actual grave, and it has a sword laying over on top of it, like, basically your famous sword.
Yeah.
You get that in the final shape. Number one, it's ridiculously strong. It's not in the heavy slot like normal. It's in that kind of middle slot. And it just randomly rolls with like exotic perks from other famous guns, like Galahorn or Telesto or a bunch of these other ones. So like one I got to drop has the Galahorn Wolfpack rounds thing. So you and other people that have swords equipped you're slicing and dicing and doing your thing, and those wolf pack rounds are flying out of your swords. It's like, great.
Oh, Jesus.
Perfect. I love it. Too strong. Favor, yeah, that's Ergo Sum. Probably Ergo Sum. I don't know. Anyways, are you guys ready for this next part?
Yes.
Go.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk Take 2. 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of June 10th, 2024. Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked comes out PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC. This is basically all 3 Rocket Knight games in one collection that's been kind of cleaned up a little bit and have some quality of life stuff. I didn't play these games back when they came out, so I don't have any like personal affinity for them, but people seem to really like these, and I'm happy that they're playable on modern stuff.
I don't know what they are, so
seems good. They're basically like you've been playing a lot of Genesis platformers. It's kind of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was about to say. It's like, oh, we'll probably hear Moon talk about the originals on some
probably
thing.
Yeah. It's probably, I can almost guarantee it's in that collection. Yeah.
I haven't hit R yet, so yeah.
Yeah. Next game here, V Rising comes out on the PS5. I can't find info about other platforms. I thought this was coming out to Xbox platforms as well, but I can't find anything. So
yeah, I think they hit a snag with something, because there was even that was why the console release got pushed back for a while too, just in general.
Yeah, because they were originally like, it's coming out pretty soon, and they're like, ooh, no, actually, it's coming out in May. Oh, actually, it's also not. So, that's, people seem to really like this on PC. I'm curious to see how this is going to work on console. I'm very much trying not to look at it because it seems like it's a pretty cool game that people seem to really like.
I'm super interested in it as well. So
yeah, so you might hear it on this very show in the future.
Maybe.
Next game here, Monster Hunter Stories comes out PS4, Switch, and PC. These were the 3DS, if I remember correctly. Turn-based RPGs, Monster Hunter ones. I really love the Monster Hunter press release that are like, the first Monster Hunter RPG is back, and I was like, I mean, that's technically right, but that feels weird.
All of them?
Saying the other ones aren't RPGs, which, like, I guess they're kind of not, but they kind of are. So that's weird. But these are the like very cartoony Monster Hunter turn-based RPGs that people seem to really like, and I never picked up as much as I thought I'd like them. So this is coming out this week alongside with Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. That only comes out on PS4, comes out on Switch and PC next month.
The main bad guy in that one is probably Rathalos, based on the name.
Probably, yeah. But there also seems to be a 2-pack of these if you're looking to pick up both of them at the same time. I think you can save a couple of bucks on that one.
Well, I am, but they're not coming out on any platform I currently play frequently, so...
It's also really weird that they're not coming out on Xbox. Like, I know the, like, LOL JRPGs aren't coming out on Xbox, but Xbox is a pretty big platform for the Monster Hunter series after...
World.
Thanks. I was going to say Iceborne, but that's the expansion.
It's the DLC for World, yes.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like World kind of brought this typically, historically, PlayStation focused series over to the Xbox and did really well, and PC for that matter. So it's a little bit surprising that it's not coming out on that, but hopefully it will come out. Maybe a year from now, maybe we'll see that come out as well. So, speaking of big JRPGs, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance comes out this week on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. The year of
Bye, guys.
Switch again.
Number one. Why are you putting a bad eye on Switch? Come on. But yeah, man, like the year of incredible JRPGs is just, it's not stopping.
No.
If you didn't know about Vengeance, it's essentially they're taking the base game. It runs at reasonable frame rates on more powerful platforms this time. And they just added a whole new 90-hour storyline as well. You can just start a new storyline. It's 90 hours. Added a ton of new demons. Add a bunch of, like, in the modern day kind of human world stuff. Come on, Atlas. Why are you doing this to me? SMT5 was really good on the Switch. And I didn't want to play it because the frame rate was garbaggio.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, I'm in trouble. There's so many JRPGs. Please help me.
You two literally turned into the Ralph Wiggum meme.
Yeah, very much so.
It's only because, like, I'd already played, like, I bought it for the Switch to support it, and I knew it was going to run rough. But I also knew, because it's Atlas, that in the not-so-distant future, this will come to other consoles and it will run better.
Yes. It's just a matter of when.
Poorly on, when to release it again.
Yeah.
So. Granted, it is summertime, and I'm glad that we're getting games in the summer, because that's normally the dead period.
Yeah.
But that's also the problem. It's been nothing but back-to-back games for over
back-to-back
a year
100-hour JRPGs this whole year. And like 400 incredible indies at the same time.
Yep.
So I'll be checking that out pretty soon. Atlas. Jeez.
At some point, yeah.
But
I am glad that they... Because I'm pretty sure this is the one that has pretty much everything, like all the extra DLC stuff thrown in there.
Yeah, it has any like exclusive stuff and DLC they put out. So it's like kind of a the complete
definitive edition thing. Yeah.
So it'll be cool. That game's great. All right. Let's move on to our news stories here. Hey, there were not E3 press conferences this week. There were a whole bunch. We're going to talk about a couple of them, but just the highlights. Right, we're not doing like, we've already been here for 2 hours. We're not doing another 3 hours on not E3.
Breakdown. Yeah.
A lot of the shows weren't that great anyway. So we're just going to do the highlights here really quick. Summer Games Fest was the big one. This is kind of, if you haven't watched it, it's a Jeff Keighley joint. You kind of know what you're getting into here at the
I will look for the YouTube compilations of the trailers and not all of the advertisement.
I think you should probably just like look out the 2 or 3 trailers you're interested in and just watch those. So this is probably the most uneven show for me personally, but I don't think this is a show that is really focused towards me anyway. Except they open with Lego Horizon Adventures, which is just okay. They're making a Lego Horizon Sony game. Sure, that's a market.
It's never too young. You're never too young to introduce your children to the concept of world-ending computerization.
That's right. Also, I like that they have managed to make a game that is specifically marketed to exactly me, of loves Lego games, maybe a little bit too much, and loves the Horizon series, like maybe a little bit too much. So, yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
I told my wife about this. Like, look, there's a new Lego game coming out. She's like, isn't that the one that I built that long neck for? I'm like, yep.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
You'll have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this looks cool. I hope that like most of these Lego games, they have a little bit of fun with the story, because that's kind of the part that I really like about it.
Well, they had like the hot dog suit as one, and like they were just showing like a bee suit that you can equip on people. So I think they know what they're doing with that.
Yeah, chances are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming out holiday 2024. They also announced Sid Meier's Civilization 7, which really is just largely like a CG kind of teaser. You don't need to show this off. It's Civ 7. You know if you're in it or you're like, LOL, who's Sid Meier? Like those are kind of the two extremes of that organization. So
system's been tweaked and the game looks even better.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, you're gonna one more turn your way into 4 o'clock in the morning when it comes out sometime next year. We were just talking about SMT games and Persona stuff. They showed off more of Metaphor ReFantasio, which is Atlas's new game. So this game is very funny because it very clearly has the SMT press turn system in it, that they are not calling that. They're not saying that very clearly. and it very clearly has major Persona influences that they are very distinctly not calling out by name. So like Atlas has been making a lot of games that are kind of orbiting around their two kind of tentpole franchises for a while, but this one very much looks like, hey, we're just mushing the two of them together. What you love from both of them, or putting them together. We're not calling them either one of those.
We need new IPs. Good.
Right. Yeah, it looks super cool, and I'm hoping that the gameplay looks pretty different. It looks a lot more action-y, so I'm hoping that it might be a better introduction. The SMT games are hard. Like, those are not the RPGs you start with for Atlas. The Persona games are cool and good, but very long, and sort of infamously have incredibly long intros. So I'm hoping this game might be more of a better starter point for Atlas RPGs. Of like, hey, if you thought all those systems sounded cool, here's a cool place to start. I'm hoping.
Don't listen to Boston. SMT3 Nocturne is the JRPG to start with.
The easiest game on the planet.
Yeah, baby's first JRPG. If you have problems with it, it is a skill issue. Check yourself.
You're dying to Matador? That's never happened.
Matador? Wait to Thor. Come on.
Bad at games. That's coming out October 11th of this year on the continual JRPG train here. Bloomhouse Games came out to show off their stuff. They're opening a studio here, and they kind of put out a big sizzle reel of like, here's a bunch of the games that we're making. Here's the stuff that we're kind of aiming at. Some of it seems to be horror. Some of it seems to be not horror indie games. They also have the Sam Barlow's studio. Their new game that they were showing off a little bit of a teaser trailer for. So sadly, that seems like it's still a ways away. But it's interesting to see that this kind of looks exactly the way that you would expect it to be, which is, hey, the spooky film studio is going to be publishing a bunch of spooky indie games. So I think that sounds pretty cool. It would be neat to see another kind of boutique publisher that has a house style, kind of like we see with Devolver and Annapurna and stuff like that. And it's interesting to see them focus on not developing their own stuff, as far as I can tell, but really publishing and supporting indies, which in the state of the industry right now is needed pretty badly. So I'm hoping that turns out really well. On the other side of the coin, we also have Inner Sloth, which is the Among Us developers, came out and announced that they are starting a publishing wing called Outer Sloth, and which is an incredible name. But a lot of what they're doing is they're doing the same thing of promoting and publishing indies that maybe have a team, maybe have a smaller game that they pitch, and trying to get funding for their game across the finish line. So Inner Sloth is a super cool studio. I love seeing hit indie studios like this kind of use their influence and their budgets to promote other indie studios. I think that's super cool.
It sounds like the same thing that was happening with because I think we were talking about this in the Discord as well. The group or the company for Pacific Drive is part of a bigger indie group that is helping to Kepler to help support other indie studios.
Yeah, it's a very similar thing. Yeah.
So it sounds really good. So hopefully,
I mean, that's with the state of the games industry right now, that's kind of what needs to happen, because a lot of stuff just is too small, or maybe doesn't seem like it's going to be financially viable to I was going to say Private Division, but Take-Two is looking at shuttering Private Division completely, even though they're denying it. So like that's the sort of stuff that you can look at a lot of these indie games and say like, that's probably going to do pretty well. It's not going to sell Balatro numbers. It's not going to do Among Us numbers, but it'll do pretty well for like a modest budget and a modest team. So I like that we have these publishers that that are supporting that. Like they were, says in chat, that's what they said about Vampire Survivors, and now he's a millionaire. Exactly. Like, a lot of these publishers would probably look at a game like that and say, yes, that looks incredibly cool. We want to publish that. How much money do you need? And kind of support that. So, seems pretty cool. I like it. Next up, we have... Where is this in here? Dune Awakening, which is the final title of the open world survival MMO, and they open with, what if Paul Atreides was never born? It's like, oh, here we go. Okay. And most of the trailer is basically like a what if for the Dune novels of like, what if Jessica had a daughter? And what if this and that and the other thing? It's like, okay, still no gameplay, huh? Okay.
Nope.
It's cool.
If I can't turn PvE mode on / play by myself, I will not be playing this game.
You would hope that after the success of Fallout 76's kind of private servers thing, and the Sea of Thieves just has a pretty good like PvE only mode, you would hope that there would be at least an option to be like, I love Dune and I just want to craft.
I'm not interested in Rust set in the Dune universe.
Right, exactly. Not. Right. So I don't know. I was hoping for literally any information about this game other than a CG trailer that's just like a what if for the novels, and we did not get that. So
shucks.
That's fine, I guess. Hyperlight Breaker is the next game here. That's the sequel to Hyperlight Drifter, which they are announcing. I can't even find that in this list here. Need better chapter markers. They are announcing here that it has a playable co-op campaign, which is pretty cool. I'm still not sure how I feel about this game overall being pretty different from Hyperlight Drifter, but as I was watching this footage, I thought, Risk of Rain 2 did it. I can probably give this game a shot. I think this looks pretty neat. Hopefully it captures that same vibe of the first one, because that was the thing that I loved the most about that, is like really tight combat and really cool vibe. And of course the soundtrack was great, but so we'll see. That's coming out in early access late this summer. So we'll see how that goes. I continue to have concerns about early access in general, but we have...
Yep.
I've been on that soapbox for as long as we've been doing We Rogue Like It, and I won't continue to be on this soapbox anymore right now.
Yep.
Last trailer I have here is Monster Hunter Wilds. They showed a really cool kind of desert-based trailer here. A lot of like, running away from a sand monster. Whoa, we're riding on a bunch of animals and palicos, and I won't admit that these games look cool because Moon is here, but these games kind of look cool. Don't tell Moon. So I think
they don't just look cool, Boston.
It's not a chocobo, but whatever, I guess.
Well, let's give them time for a crossover, maybe.
Yeah.
But I do really respect the trailers that these teams put out, because it's not like, here's what Monster Hunter is. You're going out and you're hunting. It's just like, nah, man, don't worry about it. We're going to show you some really cool stuff. If you've been playing Monster Hunter, you're probably going to be super pumped about something the monsters are doing, or some wild weapon, new changes, or something cool. If you don't, that's fine. Go play a Monster Hunter and check it out. You'll be super excited about the next trailer that they show off. So
the really funny thing is, based on how traditionally the Monster Hunter games are lots of little monsters, one big monster, and based on what I've seen of the trailers so far, they're putting a lot of emphasis on the little monsters. Like when they were running through the desert, there was a bunch of snake things coming out. It's like they're just the little nothings.
Those are the little guys.
Yeah. They're they're the guys that don't mean anything. Like, that's
Right.
not even your main target. So if they're
Right.
putting that much emphasis on this, exactly how big and bad are the Scary Boys going to be?
Right. What are you putting on the cover? What kind of dragon?
Oh, I want to know what the cover star is going to be, and if they're going to
That's
get
right.
injured after they get put on the cover.
That's
like
right.
That always
Monster
happens.
Hunter Curse just coming for every year. It's really rough.
Just put a sandworm on there. It'll be
That's
fine.
right.
Year of the
That's right.
sandworm.
That's right. That's right. So that was the highlights from Summer Games Fest. There were some other cool stuff there, but I mean, it's Summer Games Fest. You kind of know. Keighley puts on the same show twice a year, every year. It's pretty similar. You're really
How
only
long
there.
did Kojima get?
He wasn't there.
I
He's
don't think
busy
he was.
scanning.
Good.
He's busy
that makes a
scanning
difference.
literally everybody in Furiosa. Like he's busy scanning any Hollywood star into his like disaster box,
So he
that
can capture their soul.
Exactly.
Death
Exactly.
Stranding 2.
I was gonna say Death Stranding 3, featuring Anya Taylor-Joy.
I mean,
Coming to you next.
they're just going to stop calling it Death Stranding and just call them the Strand games at that point.
That's right.
Bringing the world together.
That's right. So, of course, the reason why you watch Summer Games Fest is for Day of the Devs, which is the thing that is followed up directly afterwards. You should go watch the entire thing. It's all really great. They show off every single game that they showed off is incredibly cool. We don't have enough time to talk about every single one of them. You should go watch it. I'm not kidding you when I say literally everything in here is cool.
The funny thing is like whenever I don't have time to watch the shows, like I didn't this week, there's two I watch every time. I didn't even watch the Xbox one last year, but I definitely watched the Day of the Devs, and I definitely watched Wholesome Direct.
Yes, Wholesome Direct we're not going to cover on this. That was also real. They shot 70 games, and like all of them is just like, yep, that's cool. Oh, here's a
I also have
Picross.
to check out that T-shirt design this year.
It's very good. It's really cool. First game here from Day of the Devs, I really only want to talk about kind of the two big ones. Battle Vision Network. This is the new game from Capybara Games. If you weren't aware, they made the Might and Magic Clash of Heroes game. It was like a big hit on 360 on Xbox Live Arcade. It's like a puzzle arcade, kind of like turn-based.
Match 3 RPG.
Yeah. And Clash of Heroes was so good. Really, really, really great. They weren't involved in doing the remaster. Another team sort of did that, and they weren't involved in it. So this is very much that game. It seems like they were just like, oh, you're going to do that then. We're going to make another one. And this one's going to be even better. And this one looks really good. So if you liked Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, they're making a new one. And it has this cool kind of like cyberpunk kind of future games styling to it. Looks really cool. That's Battle Vision Network. Next game here, I've been tracking UFO 50 for a couple of years now. This is a game, a collection of 50 games that Derek Yu, who's the one of the main creators behind Spelunky
He's
1
the
and 2.
OG Spelunky guy. He made Spelunky.
Yeah, I mean, it's Spelunky and Spelunky 1 and Spelunky 2. He's been spearheading this idea of, back in the 80s and the 90s, you'd go to like a computer show, or you'd find like in a store, they'd be like, it's $5 and you get 75 games on this one disc. 74 of them are going to be probably pretty bad, but
yeah, but every now and
pretty
again
good.
you'll get a Bionic, you know, the knockoff Sonic.
Right, exactly. And like maybe you'll get one where a couple of games are pretty good. And this collection of games, they're trying to recreate that idea. And there's 50 games in here that kind of span the gamut of like difficulties and lengths and game styles and stuff like this. Like they said, some of them are going to be shorter arcade games, some of them are going to be longer experiences. They're platformers, RPGs, first-person dungeon crawlers. They just showed like a space golf game. Like there's just stuff all over the board, and
some of these are giving me hardcore Amstrad vibes. By the way,
yes, very much so. Like Amstrad, ZX Spectrum, like DOS games, NES games. Like they actually announced during this that they have a story that's wrapping around the game. All 50 games are going to be available at the beginning. You don't have to like unlock anything, but the story is that this is the history of a developer called UFO Soft, and they were developing these games for this console between the years of 1982 and 1990. So as you go through the games, you see the technology get a little bit better and the development get better and the games get kind of bigger and more interesting as they go along as you go through the years and as you go through these games. And there'll be some sequels in there'll be some characters that come back in some of these games. Some games have multiplayer, some games have like co-op, some have versus modes in them, so it kind of runs the gamut of all the stuff from all these games. So that's coming out on Steam this September 8th, 2024. I really hope this comes to other platforms because I think this could do really well on a bunch of, especially like Switch. So hopefully that comes eventually. UFO 50 seems like it's really cool. I'm happy that it's finally coming out because I think they started working on it like 5 or 6 years ago, and they've been working on it pretty consistently since then. So good on them for completing that. Again, go watch Day of the Devs. It's really great. I highly recommend that. The other one that happened this week, actually just happened earlier today, right here before we started recording, is the Xbox Games Showcase. They opened here with Call of Duty, which we don't really care about. There was also a direct about Call of Duty right after that, blah, 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 whatever. The first game they opened up with after that was Doom: The Dark Ages, which is coming out next year in 2025, which has been rumored here for a little bit over the last couple of weeks. But it's very much like, hey, you got kind of a medieval demon Doom here. He has a chainsaw shield. I'm just going to say the two words chainsaw shield again. That's got a good mouthfeel. And it showed a bunch of gameplay, and it looks like Doom. I think smartly, it doesn't seem so far to have reinvented the wheel.
Is this like an alternate history? Is it like...
I have no idea.
Set during the time when he was fighting in hell?
It's just Evil Dead 3. That's all it is.
Right. Yeah. I don't. Also forgot to mention the chain gun that grinds up skulls and shoots skull pieces because it's a Doom game. That's pretty good. I'm personally a little bit wary of this because I really didn't like Eternal. 2016 is an all-time great first-person shooter. That game's incredible. Eternal really didn't click with me, so I'm curious to see if they kind of take the next step from Eternal. Do you kind of,
as long as they like wind back the amount of stuff you're trying to juggle, because that stuff is impossible on a controller.
Is this the middle ground between Eternal and 2016, or are they just kind of going even further past that? I mean, they're going even further because in this trailer they show the Doom guy getting into a giant Doom guy kaiju and fighting a giant demon. So like, of course it's going to be bigger than the last one, but like Moon said, like, I didn't enjoy the amount of things to juggle and the amount of systems that you have at hand in that game. I don't, if it's going to be
2016
that again,
got it perfect. Like, yeah. 2016 legitimately got it perfect.
Yeah. So curious about that one. Next game here is State of Decay 3, which still has no release date, and I'm fairly sure none of this was gameplay. Some parts of this I could maybe be convinced was a little bit of gameplay, but
that studio's having issues, dude. That studio's having a lot of issues.
Yeah,
especially with the abuse allegations that came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I really want to see what this is, because I think State of Decay 2 sounded really cool, but there's still nothing coming out about this game, and that's still really concerning. So hopefully everything is going okay in that studio. This still seems neat, but there's still not even like a lot of stuff on paper about State of Decay 3, which is really concerning. So I don't know. We'll see here. Next up, they announced, let me find the trailer of this. They announced...
How many name changes can you have for one game?
Oh, you can still change it.
Yeah, you can still change the name of the new Dragon Age game. You know, you can change it to something, but what is it? Dragon Age The Veilguard is the next game here. I cannot find this trailer at all. Chapter markers would be really great. Yeah, who cares? Because it looks like Borderlands, and that sucks. I'm pissed. I'm so frustrated about this trailer. Like, I am the Dragon Age sucker here. I love Dragon Age 2. Like, come on.
1 and 2 are fantastic games.
Yeah.
They are genuinely incredible games. I have not played Inquisition.
I didn't hate Inquisition like apparently everyone else did. It had issues.
Sure.
But it arguably has one of the best title cards that you've ever played.
Oh, yeah. Inquisition is really great.
The second you hit that go button. You hit that go button.
This, like, licensed music trailer with, like, Borderlands That Just Happened stylings on it. Bro, like, this is going to be the first thing you show about this Dragon Age game, that this and the Mass Effect game you're still not showing are the last hopes for a failing studio? Like, you gotta do better than this.
The last hopes for a failing publisher, please. Thank you very much.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So, like, both.
This change and the title change, with the title change is fine, but like there isn't any gameplay here. There's just a bunch of characters you're announcing. Like, you gotta tell something about this game, and it's coming this fall.
This year?
Fall of this year.
What?
We haven't seen anything.
This is gonna crash and burn.
That's 3 months. I haven't seen gameplay. This is where you show gameplay.
They just said last year that they were working on it officially.
Hold on. What's that I hear? I hear the anthem of creation in my ear. That's a really good joke for anybody who doesn't get it. I'm sorry, you missed out on one of the best potential games that ever existed.
It's a really good one. I've been really excited about this game, especially when it was originally called Dreadwolf. The fact that they changed that name is very concerning because they need to continue the incredible ending of Inquisition.
What is it? It's not Astorius. That's Baldur's Gate 3, I believe. Whatever. Right. It was an A name. Or was it Astorius? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Hold on. DAA stupid elf.
Yeah, what is his name? The egg guy. Yeah.
Hello, but, like, stupid elf guy egg.
You gotta continue that story, man. So we will see this fall. Game Pass day and date guaranteed, because is it Game Pass? Well, hold on, let me go to this trailer continue to play.
I don't think it's sad.
Nope, wasn't. So okay.
I feel like this is just getting shipped out just to die, so that way they can say, "Yep, we cleared it."
It's out. Like it's too far past to cancel. We just gotta finish this thing. Yeah, man, I don't know. God.
Oh my god, I don't want to know about the difference between city elves and wood elves. I want to know who the egg guy is.
Show me the egg guy. Anyways, next game here is Expedition 33.
Is Astorius the wolf from Dark Souls?
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Solus.
Thank you.
The biggest a-hole in Dragon Age history.
The egg elf.
I have not played Inquisition. I know Astorius' story because More Civilized spoiled it in one of their
Sure.
Outcasts, or one of the Patreon things. They
Sure.
talked about how
Excuse me,
Solus
Outcast
was,
is a TVGP brand. Thank you very much.
sorry, Q&A, one of
Thank
the
you.
Q&A
Appreciate it.
episodes. Yeah.
Anyways, Expedition 33 started looking like, oh, here's a third-person action Unreal Engine 5 game. Whoopity-doo. Wait, it's actually a timing-based, turn-based RPG? Which...
So,
Maybe.
Okay.
does it remind you of anything, Boston?
Well,
With
the developers came out today and said their largest inspiration is Final Fantasy VIII, so I'm like, yeah, cool, I'm buying your game.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be Final Fantasy VIII based on what I'm looking at.
It should be Eternal Sonata.
No, it shouldn't be that either.
You and I are the only Eternal Sonata sickos. Lost
I
Odyssey?
don't know the name. No, it's not a JRPG. It's the action game with the anime dude with the 8 arms that you hit the B button a bunch. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the Asura's Wrath.
Thank you. All I can think of was Ahsoka.
Yeah,
it's like that's not
that's
it.
What that cutscene reminded that footage reminded me of.
That's
reminded me of that.
It sort of looked at the beginning. I was like, all right, well, if you're gonna ape a Sony game, you might as well make it like a third-person action thing. And they're like, nope, turn-based, timing-based RPG. And it's like, all right, sure. You say you like Final Fantasy VIII. I'm gonna check out your game, man. Sure. Next game here, probably one of the most interesting games that they announced today, South of Midnight. This is a very cool kind of South Bayou-looking Eldritch third-person action hack-and-slash thing. It opens with your main character kind of riding on a giant talking catfish that's in the kind of southern swamps, and moves into some pretty interesting looking third-person swinging and slashing action. We typically don't get anything that looks half as neat as this in sort of setting wise. It's usually like, ooh, we're on an alien planet inspired by the American South. And it's like, nah, we're just gonna put it there. We're gonna make it look cool. So I think this looks super great. If you haven't seen the trailer, they put out kind of a cool, like, the CG stuff looks that like kind of 12 frames per animation, kind of like Into the Spider-Verse animation style, and then the game itself looks pretty smooth. So it's an interesting combination of the two. So that's South of Midnight. Highly recommend checking out a trailer on that. What are you laughing about?
Because immediately what popped into my head was Lord of War.
Yeah, I don't. Sure, maybe. I don't know. This game looks pretty cool. That's South of Midnight. Next game up here is, find the trailer for it, is Metal Gear Solid Delta, which looks...
Is this the remake of 3?
Yes. Yeah. Which looks ridiculously good. And also, finally had some voice clips in it this time. Sounds like they're keeping the original voice acting from the game. From the original PS2 game. Sounds really good, too. So I'm not sure if they had, like, the original uncompressed recordings that they could sort of gussy up here, but man, does this look
now that you're
cool.
Paying for DS2, you get Metal Gear Solid Delta free.
That's right. I'm surprised at how many people online today have been like, well, I'm not going to play it. It's just going to be MGS3 again. It's like, yo, I'm sorry.
One of the best MGSs.
One of the best PS2 games, one of the best MGS games. Oh, yeah, sure. I'm just not going to play, one of Kojima's best games here. Sure. Why not?
Yeah. Also, you get to kill Revolver Ocelot and then get a game over screen because your paradox is
paradox.
Yeah. Like,
but it does have the weakest version of a kind of Metal Gear thing.
Oh, the Shagohod can go to hell. Like,
the Shagohod.
The fact that I know that it's called the Shagohod after how long between playing this game.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited because I think that looks super cool, and hopefully more people play the game because MGS3 is really good. Still has no release date, but I'm happy that they keep showing more trailers and the game kind of keeps progressing every time we see it. So I think that looks pretty cool. Next game here is Perfect Dark. Let me see, where is this thing? Chapter markers, please, people.
An RTS with a fishing game.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know, man. Perfect Dark looks fine. Like it's just more CG trailer stuff. So they're really not showing off a ton of it. And it looks like, oh my god, new YouTube. This new YouTube player is just the worst. I'm really not the biggest Perfect Dark fan, so I can't tell you like what the positives and negatives are. People online seem to be super pumped about it, so that's at least a pretty good sign.
I never played any of the Perfect Dark games because I didn't have an expansion pack, so therefore I couldn't play them.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I did play the one on the 360, which was fine.
Oh, right.
The launch one for the 360, that was okay. Right. But I'm a huge fan of The World Is Not Enough, which is a Perfect Dark alike.
Right.
And this is given World Is Not Enough vibes, which I'm good with.
Yeah.
I just remember the laptop gun.
Oh, laptop gun's great.
And Elvis. Yeah. Don't forget about Elvis.
Right. Yeah. Right. So that still has no release date, which I think is kind of surprising, but hopefully we'll see more of that coming. We did get a longer look here at Fable finally, which as
gameplay this time
of a fashion, kind of you exploring the town, doing light hacking and slashing.
Okay. Move on until we get to the actual gameplay section, please.
I think the thing that they have nailed in this trailer that I think is the hardest thing is the humor. I'm the resident Fable hater, and there's some stuff in here got me to laugh.
I love Fable so much. Chicken kicker!
Yeah, the line in here that I think is delivered pretty perfectly is in a really great British accent is just it's like a fan club, except we really hate you. It's like, yeah, great, okay, yeah, you're getting it.
Is that like a bounty hunter or something?
No, it's just a lady in town. It's just like a smarmy lady in town that hates you. So I think I'm surprised at how this looks. I think I think they do the right thing. They show a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of in-engine stuff, but I think they really focus on the humor first and foremost. That's just like, yeah, we're kind of, you know what you're getting into here. So
it is weird though, because Fable's known for its cartoony looking world and characters.
Mm-hmm.
And this video, it just looks like some medieval adventure,
right?
Like generic game right now. Like there's nothing to show that this is a Fable game.
Yeah, and like they start off with this hero at the beginning here being like, I'm here to tell you the story of the greatest hero in the world. And then he like points off camera at a painting and he's like, that guy. It's like, it's not him that's telling it. But at the end of the trailer, they're like, she's returned. And everyone's like, oh no. It's like, bro, what are we doing? Come on. You just need like the talking stone faces, chicken kicker.
Yeah.
I got the evil horns.
I'm not knocking it because maybe it works out really great.
Sure.
But
like, don't lean too much into it. Like,
the Jack and the Beanstalk trailer really felt like it nailed it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes here. Next game here is Mixtape. Fable's coming out 2025. Mixtape, the Artful Escape team is making kind of a cool licensed music adventure exploration thing. I think
that was a good game.
Yeah, and I think based on Artful Escape, I'm really curious to see what they're going to make, because I feel like they can release a trailer and you're like, that looks pretty cool, and you play it and it's completely different and super weird. So like, I think that's pretty cool, and I hope this turns out to be pretty interesting. So I don't think there's a release date for this. It's a lot of like a vibes based trailer here. So
I hope they have their stuff figured out for streamers.
Oh,
since it's all licensed music.
Yeah, they will probably have they'll do the like, what is it? Life is Strange, True Colors
like you
thing.
Get rid
where
of all licensed music or whatever.
It just mutes the music. It's just like, all right, cool. That's a
There's got to be a better way.
There has to be a better way, like paying an in-house musician to just make a soundtrack. And
hold
do
on,
that.
hold on.
Yeah.
I just saw the next one and the first note you made.
Yeah, hold on. We're in there. We're in there. Next game that's coming out 2025. Don't worry. We're moving to this next one. We're skipping past World of Warcraft, whatever, blah blah blah. This is some Elder Scrolls thing. Anyways, next game, Life is Strange Double Exposure. Hey, look, someone familiar here. Max Caulfield is back. Pardon?
Excuse me?
She's back, October 29th, 2024. She's moving between two alternate realities to try and save her friend that got killed in her timeline.
Okay. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Is this episodic or is it all coming out at once?
I don't think we know yet. I'm assuming it's.
Come on.
I don't think it's going to be episodic because it's Deck 9 making this again. And True Colors is not episodic.
Which one did Deck 9 do again?
True Colors.
True Colors?
And 2.
Oh, I'm about 10,000% in. Same voice actor?
Yes, it appears to be the same voice actor.
Oh, I'm 1,000,000% in.
I'm seeing so many people online today being like, "Oh, you're bringing Max back because you think that sell copies." It's like, shut up. Shut your dark, cold heart up.
Shut up. Shut up. It will, yeah.
Yeah, also, yeah, I'm going to buy... Number one, I'm going to buy anything that has Life is Strange on it that Deck 9 makes. I know a lot of people are like,
True Colors is the best of the series. Like, let's not
good.
Let's not make no bones about this. 1 is great. Before the Storm apparently is great.
Before the Storm is great, yeah.
2 is dark.
2 is brutal.
In its own way.
Yeah.
True Colors is where it's at. True Colors is the best Life is Strange game.
Yeah, so for me, like, Deck 9 says they're making a new Life is Strange game. Like, yeah, sold. I don't need to know anything else. I'm going to buy it. October 29th this year. So, sold. Done. Get my top 10 list, hopefully. They showed a longer trailer here for, and maybe the first trailer of gameplay.
It is the first trailer.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which has... That dude is doing a real good Harrison Ford. I gotta say, he's nailing it.
Hey Boston.
Yeah.
Hey Boston.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those movies, mate.
What?
So I'm fairly sure we have a season for that of Critical Misses.
We do.
Sign up for a Patreon and find out more.
When's the release date for this? Can we time it?
Coming. It just says coming this year. So I'm not sure when that is. But I do like that the studio that makes a bunch of Nazi punching games features a lot of Nazis getting punched in this trailer, which I think is really good. So good on you, Machine Games. Let's keep punching those Nazis, virtually and in real life.
And when's the next Wolfenstein game, please? Thank you.
Yeah,
sometime after this.
See if they're gonna get a chance to go back to that, but. This being like a first-person punching game, because it seems like an Indiana Jones like whip game would kind of be a natural third-person one. But I think this looks pretty cool. So hopefully that. Also surprised if it's coming this year. They don't have a release date yet, so I'm not sure what the squiffiness is on that, but we'll see.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Next trailer here, if I can find it, is for Atom Fall, which is basically Rebellion Studios, who made Sniper Elite, is making British Fallout. So
cool.
I'm good with that.
That's about all the selling you need. That's pretty much the trailer anyway. But sure, that could be cool. I think that sounds like a neat idea. So we'll see. Pretty light on details. I don't even think this has a release date yet. I don't think it ended with one. But just kind of that like napkin math of that. Sure, I'll keep an eye on that. That seems pretty neat. They released another trailer here for Assassin's Creed Shadows. That's the name of this one. Coming out November 15th. Still looks cool, man. A lot more gameplay in this one. I still think this looks pretty neat.
Did it annoy the weirdos again?
Oh, of
I was
course.
gonna say, is this the one that everyone's freaking out about?
Yeah, because
yes,
it dares to feature both a woman and a person of color in a video game. How could they? So these unloved nerds on the internet that only spend their time arguing with and sending death threats to women and people of color are upset because of a game that famously isn't historically accurate.
I don't know what you're talking about, Boston. It's 100% accurate that you will go into a machine to read your genetic memories.
Yeah, to go fight the Pope as the final boss in one of the games.
They didn't teach you about the apple from
That's
the Garden
right.
of Eden. You know?
You didn't learn about the Apple of Eden in school?
You didn't know that Paul Revere was a drunk who almost fell off his horse and not a hero to be celebrated in American history?
That's right. So this game looks
actually true.
Probably, yeah. But this game looks super cool. Reminder that the one of the male protagonists in this game actually did exist. So shut the hell up, dumb nerds. But also, I don't know, this looks pretty cool.
This is supposed to be the original gameplay style of Assassin's Creed, or is this the newer gameplay style?
This is the newer style.
Yeah.
The one that just came out was the original style. This is the newer style.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from what they've been showing, I think they're trying to do more stealth stuff like they tried to do in Mirage, was the last one. So I think there's elements of that, but I don't think it's as much of a like quote unquote return to the roots as the last one is. So, but we'll see. I think there's some gameplay in here, but still a lot of it is just like cool ninja stuff, that sort of stuff. So we'll see more because that's coming out in November. So that's right around the corner here.
Yep.
Next game here, Stalker 2. Have a longer kind of story and gameplay trailer of this. This is coming out September 5th. That's super soon.
Do I buy the triple pack of the Stalker games and try and blow through them before this one comes out?
I was just thinking that too, because I haven't played the first one. And when did that come out? Was that 2009?
That was a long time ago, dude.
Yeah. But I know that they did the remaster or whatever of the series. It was the same thing with like the Metro games. Like they did like a Redux remaster.
Oh, that's right.
Version.
Yeah.
They recently just released the Stalker triple pack on the Xbox.
Yeah. I don't know how long those games are actually. I don't.
March 2007 was Shadow of
2007.
About 15-20 hours each around there.
Really? That's longer.
They're about a medium-sized game, yeah.
But they're also meant to be brutally difficult too.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed that this is coming out anytime soon because I feel like this has been in development and understandable development problems here for the last couple of years. So the fact that this is coming out in September is pretty amazing. So hopefully it's good. We'll find out.
They had to move their whole studio, didn't they?
Yeah, they fled the country.
Yeah,
they moved the whole thing.
Yeah, they're a Ukrainian company, so they had to leave. So. And last here, the final trailer that's unveiled here, let me see if I can find it here, is Gears of War E-Day, which somehow is not Gears of War 6.
No, I honestly, if they would have said Gears of War 6, I would have been 100% in based on the way 5 ended.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have been 1,000% in because 4 and 5 are building up to something real special.
Yep.
But the fact that this is called E-Day is just like, go away. I don't care about Marcus. I don't care about Dom
years
anymore.
Ago, it's a prequel featuring Marcus and Dom. Why?
They had their time.
Yeah, they had their time. It's called Gears of War 1 through 5.
Well, that and Judgment. Like, didn't Judgment cover... Because I know a lot of people were talking about, oh, this is going to cover everything before Gears 1. And I'm like, that's what Judgment was.
Well, I mean, that's what all of the games have been doing. Like, all of these games are so obsessed with continuing to deal with the fallout of E-Day, which is understandable. That's the story of the game. But, like, you can't make a prequel with Marcus and Dom when you have Gears 6 ready to go with a cool story.
Should be ready to go. Yeah.
My favorite part of this is like, what are you going to do? Go back to the 4 enemy types in the first Gears? Because you can't have the big blind things because they only showed up at the start of Gears 1.
Right, they don't exist
yet.
yet.
Surprised They hadn't seen them before. So therefore, you can't have them. You can't have the bats that attack you and kill you in the darkness because they don't exist.
That was
yet.
brand new at the time, yeah.
Right.
It's going to be something stupid, like they always do with these games, where it's like, oh, here's a brand new enemy type that magically disappears by the end of this game, and we never see again.
Exactly.
And then
Will
somehow
Smith
in
is
6
show
they'll
up
wrap it
and
back
flashy
around.
thingy them.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating. Like, this is the one franchise where you're killing it each and every game, and like Moon said, you're building up to something really cool. Gears of War 4 and Gears of War 5 were taking the gameplay, especially with the like semi-open world stuff. They were marching these games forward in really interesting ways and putting a really cool story on top of it. And then just to be like, yep, it's E-Day. Like, what are you doing?
It feels like it feels like they don't know where to go with
100%.
Like because they're building to a big head to head,
right? And like a
based on
super
how
big reveal.
And it feels like they don't know what to do, so this is a stopgap measure.
It's so frustrating.
But you know what? Gears of War Tactics was a stop-hold measure. The Funko Pop Gears of War game was a stop measure. Like, we're already 3 games now away from the main, the main source. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just.
Has anyone played that Tactics game? I keep seeing it.
It's
on
pretty
Game
good.
Pass.
It's meant to be incredible.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I played through a bunch of it. It's cool if you like, kind of like if you like an XCOM, but like a little bit more free movement. It's that. It's pretty good.
Okay. Because every time I go buy it, I'm like, man, I should check that out one day.
yeah. But yeah, that was the end of Microsoft's conference there. They had like 25 minutes or something of Call of Duty. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which is a really wild thing to say out loud, that we're on Black Ops 6. Lord. Yeah, I don't know. So,
out of curiosity, what was the last Call of Duty game you played?
Black Ops 3.
Modern,
and that was only
first
because I got it for
Warfare on the 360.
Not 2, dude. Really?
No.
What's the No Russian one?
No Russians 2, I think.
I thought that was the first one. It's been so long, I genuinely have no idea, but I'm fairly sure I played some of that game.
I was gonna say, I think the last one I actually bought was whatever
Modern
one
Warfare 2.
Warzone first came out with.
I wanted to play the space one because everybody hated it because it like wasn't a quote unquote real Call of Duty game, but everyone who played it that like wasn't, navel gazing about it was like, this is cool.
Was it not a real Call of Duty game because it had an actual story in the story mode?
That had a woman in the story, like it was unacceptable.
I think mine was Black Ops 3. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Just when they started getting sci-fi with it, wasn't
zombies.
It? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Anyways, that's all the not E3 stuff for this week. Again, go watch Day of the Devs. Go watch the Wholesome Games Direct. Both of those are super good. Just an incredible announcement after another. Anything else that you see that trailer-wise seems pretty cool, go watch that stuff. But I'm not as...
More importantly, and I know I don't have to state this for our community members,
sure,
be nice to people. Don't hate on somebody for being excited.
Stop harassing people on the internet, especially women and like people of color or anybody who identifies as LBGT. Like, stop sending death threats just because Elon Musk is on your side. Like, you have to stop.
Spoil that he's not on your side.
No, he's
only
clinically,
on your side 'cause you keep giving him money. That's all.
He's clinically stupid, but like, you have to stop threatening people just because they're making a video game that reflects their life or their experiences. Like, that's what we need out of games. We need more games that examine the human condition or examine people's lives or their art style or what they believe in or what they love. Like, we have to have more of that stuff for video games to continue to thrive and for more people to play more games, that stuff has to happen. You have to stop. The industry is scaring developers out by itself by closing successful shipping studios. We don't need those people that are losing their jobs or making cool games that maybe feature someone of color in them to be scared off the internet and stop making games just because you're a 35-year-old white guy on the internet with a YouTube channel. Like, we have to stop doing this.
And it's not just video games too, like any form of media. Like,
stop harassing people. Go outside and
Please.
take a walk around your block and go talk to another human face to face. I'm begging you, please.
And maybe really think about where your deep-seated hatred is coming from.
Right. And if it's coming from a financially rewarding spot, that makes you a bad person. That means that you're greedy and not interested in supporting other living humans. And that's pretty disgusting. So don't be disgusting. Be a better person. Go be good to other human beings.
Or go be disgusting by yourself. Whatever. Leave everybody alone.
You just like write in a journal
minimum.
or something. Make YouTube videos for yourself and don't post it on anything. Just, you gotta stop. And also, don't support grifters. Don't support the people that are being angry on the internet and getting financially rewarded for it. That's the other side of the coin. Don't quote retweet them just because they're saying something dumb. Don't watch their videos just because you're curious. Don't do any of that. Don't support people that are just walking around as like a hate-filled human shell.
But you can support us.
That's right. You can support us over at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. If you do want to hang out with the best community of people on the internet, with a place that is moderated, that does have rules against this sort of shenanigans and malarkey, go hang out at discord.tvgp.tv. Anybody who's anywhere close to this stuff, I love banning and blocking people. I have no problems with kicking somebody out, even if they've got bad vibes. That's how you should run your community. If somebody comes in, talked about it recently, and someone coming in on a Twitch stream be like, I have a question, ban them. That question's not going to be good. Someone coming in and be like, what do you think about this? Get on out, buddy. Discord.tvgp.tv. Hang out with the best community on the internet. We're really just talking about gross food and gross energy drinks, gross fast food, and cool physical Winamp things. Like, it's cool. We're cool there. Everybody's cool.
And that we all need to spend $60 to $70 on a new Monster Hunter game that's potentially coming out later this year.
That's right. Roping everybody into it.
Yeah.
The only form of settler colonialism that is correct is the video game kind.
That's right. Getting the Rathlos out of here, man. If you'd like to support us financially, you can do so at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
$5 a month tier is the recommended one. That gets you everything, anything above and beyond that, especially for your rich friends. It's greatly appreciated. That gets all the cool stuff we talked about at the beginning of the show. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Go visit our YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe over there. That does help us game the algorithm in whatever way we possibly can, in whatever whims the algorithm is going to blow today. Follow us. We don't really post on social media too much anymore because of the stuff we just talked about. I put my soapbox down over there, so I'm not going to get back on it. But one of the biggest things, as we've been talking about recently, is to rate the show wherever you can. Please, like 5 out of 5 stars. If you can rate anything less than that, maybe just like write it down and yell it out the window, and I'll hear it over here.
Email us. We'll read it.
Yeah, probably. But that stuff really does help discovery and really does help any podcast you listen to sort of get an advantage in the system. So please go do that. I think that's all we have for this week after, wow, a 5-star runtime. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
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 All right, Nimp and Nimp's cat, what are your titles?
I got a couple of them here. First one, Interns Come. Transfer speed is solid on solid state. Facehuggers are still terrifying. Balatro, not Geralt. The Anthem of Creation. And the last one that Boston snuck in at the very last moment. Get the Rathalos out of here.
All right, Moon, what do you have? Also, Moon, I just peeped the movie title we just talked about in that Critical Misses episode. It made me giggle. I'm not saying it out loud because it's too... If anyone wants to know, Critical Misses Season 29, Episode 4. There's a movie title
really
in there that I completely break.
Moment.
We broke the show.
Broke.
Yeah, the
broke.
show
Like,
the show broke.
Yes.
So good.
Okay, my titles. Talking about Dune, Truth Bombs, I Made a Mistake, Hoisted on My Own Petard, The Chaos is Delicious, I'm Gonna Beat It, probably a veto, The Most Empty Win, Like a Glove, Balatro Not Geralt, Ralph Wiggum Meme, and Get a Bonnock.
I guess I gotta write down Balatro, not Geralt. Alright, I have a 10-minute episode, which, that's the Ghost Cats, Flew Too Close to the Modding Sun, The Anthem of Creation, Get That Rathalos Out of Here, and Balatro Not Geralt.
Is it... Okay, I didn't write it down, but are we feeling Anthem of Creation?
It's pretty good.
Because I know that also kind of broke you two a little bit in this one.
Yeah, kind of breaking all over the place today.
I'm fine with it. That's what you guys want to go with.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Are you feeling Baltro not Geralt Boston based on your recent play history?
No, I think that's a really good title, but I think the Anthem of Creation is the perfect title at the perfect point.
Okay.
Sometimes you just throw a grenade into a room and close the door. That was that title. All right, I'm circling it.
Oh, jeez.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm going to spoil it, but I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, go for it. I'm ready.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 868 for June 10th, 2024. The Anthem of Creation.
He was clearly a traitor the whole time.
You just know. You feel it. Just pay attention.
All right, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this extra long runtime episode. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.